Hello and welcome to a special edition of the well, I was going to say see you next Thursday, but it's a bit away from Thursday, I realise, but it's been a while, unfortunately. For those who don't know, I've had no internet for a while, so no Wi-Fi, nothing. Been living like it's the 1950s or Billy's time, as we know it. Unfortunately, Billy can't be with us, so we're stuck with Ed's 2079, whatever it is. What is it? 69? No, that's no. What is it again? Sorry.
77, Chris.
Yes,
Seven
that's.
seven.
Sorry, at my age, you've got to keep reminding me. You know that. So yeah, so it's just Ed 77 and myself, and we're here to talk about. Well, we'll start with the today's games, I think. But so, what did you make of them?
Well, just for completion's sake, Crystal Palace won 4-3
Yes, sorry.
against oh, West Ham.
Yeah.
Goals galore when Roy Hodgson and David Moyes meet. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
It just that's the kind of game that you look at and you go, it just screams at you. That's gonna have goals in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, two managers renowned for free-flowing attacking game.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Basketball like play up and
Uh,
down.
I mean,
Energetic football.
where did that come from?
Now, if ever there were two managers who you would say bang nailed on nil, that would be the match, and then they go on and produce 4-3.
I must. Do you know what? I feel like I've woken up and not, I'm still asleep. You know what I mean? It's like I just can't believe that 4-3, and it was apparently a thriller as well.
Yeah, thriller in Manila.
Yeah. We can't. We just can't. I mean, uh, David Moyes
So
the whole season
I
have
guess
been
that's
awful.
this. I guess that game just means we don't talk about Crystal Palace for relegation anymore.
I think they've been out of it since the moment Roy Hodgson walked in the door. Their problem was clearly, and I think we said, well, I did anyway. So I'm just going to blow my own trumpet there
Now
for the.
save it for later. Save it for later, Chris. We can talk about the managerial changes
Oh yes, yeah, we
in a
can do
lump
that.
sum.
If you haven't fallen asleep,
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah, and then next up it was Brentford playing against Nottingham Forest. Another game that affects the relegation battle.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Forest were leading 1-0, and before the full disclosure, that game wasn't on television here,
Oh,
so I only just caught the last few minutes, and it was a very consequential minute or so. Nottingham Forest went on to turn around the deficit. It was 1-1 when they switched over to their game, and then bam, Brentford scored. Nottingham Forest looked like they were gonna get some form of daylight between them and the relegation zone, and then all the life gets sucked out. 2-1 it finished. Oh, did you catch catch the match? I know it's a stupid question, but
no, I'm still trying. I haven't got that bit set up yet. I've got as far as getting the internet. That's it, mate. Yeah, that's my next step is sorting out being able to watch the games again now, because obviously I can only watch them online these days. No, shame for Forest though, isn't it? Does that really puts them in trouble, doesn't it?
yeah, like it's and you get you go 1-0 up, you take the lead, and then you just you start to hope, and all the life just gets sucked out of
And they've been doing
you
quite
when
well
that
the last
happens.
few games as well, haven't they? So it's
No, they played
just
decent enough, threatened at times, but ultimately end up being the second best team, and
but the way
that's
they
not
the
great.
way they play, they're always going to be the second best team. I mean, it's the Cooper thing. This is why Swansea got rid of him because the fans didn't like him at all. because he plays very defensive football. He sits back and he hopes to hit on the break. That's the way he plays. I've got to admit, it's not my kind of thing either. Like, I know it can work at times, but it's really not entertaining to watch. It can be quite turgid at times, and that, like, so. And you take the risk that, like, if your breakaways aren't good enough, you're gonna lose the game, and you're never gonna be, have people say, but we deserve to win it, because really, you're just hoping to catch on the break. It's not really you're not going out to win games. You're not taking them to other teams. You're letting them take it to you. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
you're
enough.
you're never gonna go have people like yourself. I mean, you're never gonna sit there and say, they should have won that. Really, they were the better team, because they're just never gonna be the better team in games the way they play.
It's not like they're a great team underachieving either.
But they might.
I wouldn't say like, especially because of the sheer quantity of transfers they've had. It's no surprise they're battling relegation.
Yeah, I mean, we said it at the time, it was ridiculous, the amount they bought, because, I mean, you can only play 11 players at a time anyway, so why buy more than 20? I mean, it made no sense.
No, I think they bought more than 30 with both the windows combined.
Yeah, both the windows.
And you're only allowed to have 25 in this squad, let alone this playing 11 or your bench. Just you can only register up to 25 players. They wouldn't bought more than 30, I think.
Yeah, they definitely. Well, they bought 25, I think 23. I mean, in the first window, so they were definitely well, over 25 by the time they'd finished. And one of them, Bowler, he's back on loan at Blackpool. They bought him, sent him on loan to Olympiacos, so he couldn't possibly play for them. Well, what was that all about? It was clear that Marinakis was just using them as was in part using them as a way of buying players for Olympiacos rather than for them, which is never going to end well when you're trying to buy players for two teams of one.
Yeah, they're still battling there, but at least they've got a fighting chance, I guess. That's
when you look at it, they've got a very good chance, but you are relying on Leicester and Everton not picking up enough points.
Yeah, but at least if you're not got a drift, is what I'm saying. Like, they've got a chance of staying up.
Yeah, I think only Southampton you'd look at and say, I think they've done. There's no fight in Southampton, though, is there?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like whenever I look at Southampton's team, I'm just like, come on, they've got enough players that I would say deserve to be playing in the Premier League. I would say, like, if I was one of the teams that survived, I would look at them.
And of course, they got David Beckham reincarnated himself, obviously.
Yeah, one of the 8 best players in the league.
Just not sure which league that is.
And what player that is either. Maybe it's one of the 8 best cricketers.
Maybe, because he's certainly not a great footballer, is he, James Ward-Prowse?
Not one of the top 8.
No, he's not. He's just not a good player, particularly. He's just very average, isn't he? In my opinion, anyway.
No, I think he's a decent player. I think he's a Premier League level player, but not top 8 teams, let alone top 8 players Premier League.
I think he's barely a Premier League player, personally. He's one of those in between Championship and Premier League. He's more than good enough for the Championship, but not really good enough to be be Premier League, really. He's one of those where he's just in between the two.
No, but think of it like the Burnley team Sunrise had. He would fit right in there. Work hard, take the set pieces.
Yeah,
and everything.
but Dice
Is it?
liked his midfielders to play the ball forward as soon as they got it, whereas Ward-Prowse, as soon as he gets it, he looks to go sideways or backwards. So I'm not sure he would fit in.
Yeah, maybe not him, but there's still players that you would think are good enough for the league
Oh, there's
at
plenty.
Southampton.
Oh, there's plenty of
It's
others. I was thinking in Southampton, good enough.
yeah, exactly. No, with being very serious, like Kyle Walker-Peters probably starts for Spurs if he was still at Tottenham.
Yeah, he's
Bella
definitely good enough.
you like that. Bella Kochev, had we gone and signed him
Mm.
under Ralph Rangnick's recommendation, he probably is at least his first squad member, if not first 11.
Yeah, I like him a lot. And Lavia.
Salisu is good. Salisu is also a good player.
Mm.
Pero is a decent left back.
I think you could go to. I think you could probably
Lavia,
find a good 11. Yeah,
Lavia,
Lavia's
I would
good.
definitely have him at Man United.
I think he'd fit in most teams, Lavia. He's one of the best players in his position, I think.
And very promising, very young, very looks very good.
Mm. Yeah, I think they've got a
Like
good squad, Southampton. They're far too. They're far better than the position they're in. That's for sure. Comes down
no,
to
if
mismanagement.
if they were like, let's say around 30, 35 points in with a sort of relegation, but still clear, then you say yeah, fair enough. But to be what, 2 wins away from safety, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, they're well
To be
out.
4 points away from Everton, let's put it that way. To be 4 points away from
Exactly.
Everton is bad.
You've got to say though, the weakness they've got is still and has been for years, and I don't understand how it can still be a problem, but it still is. Is goalkeeper. I mean, as long as I can remember Southampton's goalkeeping situation, they've goalkeepers have been absolute dog turd, and they've still got that. And that Bazanu they got from Man City, he's terrible keeper. I don't know why they got him. I don't know why he was ever in, in the Irish reckoning for that matter. I don't know what you think of him.
I think he plays as a 21-year-old.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think
Looks decent. Looks very good in flashes, but overall, if even if you are being generous, he's not ready to be like a Premier League goalkeeper week in week out.
nah, I don't rate him at all myself. I've got to be honest. I've shocked that that he ever got near the Irish reckoning. I don't think he's a good keeper, or has. I've not seen signs of him being one either, to be honest, yet. Might be in the future, but you look through their squad. Apart from the goalkeeper, I mean, they do have the makings of a decent side. There's a few weak. I mean, I don't understand why they bought that Arabo from Rangers. I don't get him at all. He's plenty of ability, but he's just far too laid back and lazy for my liking. But yeah, I mean, it's a definite. There's a squad more than good enough. Obviously, they brought the great Walcott back, which is probably part of the problem.
He scored
Sorry,
against.
young Walcott back, obviously, because he's still referred to as young. Everyone still seems to think he's 16 years old.
No, there are two. No, there are two sets of people, Chris. Ones who think he's still has potential to improve, and the others who are like who don't even realize he's actually still playing in the
Yeah.
league.
I've got to admit, there's times when you think, oh God, Walcott's still there. Yeah.
I thought when they played us, I thought, oh, hang on a minute, is he still there? I thought he was a coach. He had already retired and what?
He probably should have, to be fair.
Hey, hang on a minute, he scored against Arsenal. Come on.
Well, yeah, we haven't got to them yet, so I won't get on that one. So won't get on my soapbox on Arsenal yet. So
And
go on.
Go on, go on, go on.
I was just going to say, so on the rest of the relegation, obviously we think it's definitely Southampton down. Are we
Now,
thinking
there is
it's...
no definite, but they're as definite as it can get.
Are we still thinking, despite the defeat, West Ham are safe with 34? Because I am, I've got to say. I think it's 2 from 4 above South. I think it's Southampton and 2 from 4 above them. What do you say? Or do you think it's 3 from 5 and Southampton's still got a good chance? God, you're making a lot of noise to your microphone, breathing on it.
No, I'm thinking, do Chelsea still figure in? I'm going way up. I'm going way up.
No.
I'm saying any team that's under 40
No, teams
has
haven't
to be
gone down.
considered. No, no,
Teams
no. We
haven't gone
have to say
down.
like
It'll be,
Chelsea.
you know, it's a nice thought, but teams haven't gone down with 38 points. I can't remember the last time a team went down with 38 points.
Oh,
Let alone
come on.
39.
Like,
They normally
you look at.
normally they survive with 34, mate. It's 33's the number normally. So I'm saying
I
West
don't
Ham
know
are
about
pretty much
normally.
safe. No,
I think
honestly,
38 is.
33. I think somebody did an average of what's the usual to go down, and it's like 33. If you go below 33, 33 and below are the ones that go down.
I think West Ham like they need a result. I basically think they need a positive result somewhere in between, and I think they can get a win from the remaining 5 games. They can either get three draws or a win that basically saves them. If I'm being realistic, I think it's Leeds, Forest, Leicester, and Everton. 2 from them.
Yeah.
But still, like, come on. Chelsea have relegation form, man.
Oh, they're in form for it, definitely. And so long as they keep Lampard in charge, they're not going to improve their form. What? We're not doing that yet, are we? But we really should. Can we
Imagine.
just please talk about that?
Imagine. No, but I wouldn't. In a way, I probably wouldn't want to see it. But come on, imagine World Cup winner, £100 million plus Enzo Fernandez relegated.
Oh, come on, it'd be hilarious.
Mudryk, Arsenal wanted him 100 fee rising to 100 million player. Oh,
and then Kunku to
that
sign
would
in
be
the
funny.
summer.
Yeah, what would happen to that transfer?
Well, I don't know. I'd assume it'd still go through, but.
But come on, he surely wouldn't want to join that.
You'd think no. You're gonna be thinking he's probably already rethinking his situation. Surely he's gonna be looking at what's going on and thinking, "Hey, do I want to join that shambles? What have I done?" I mean, they're so bad. I mean, they must be glad they
They're
sacked
lucky.
Potter.
They're lucky. They're lucky. They actually already have 39 points.
Yeah, exactly. That must be that'll be the great Thomas Tuchel, of course. Picked up most of them points because he's proven himself to be a great coach, hasn't he?
We'll get there.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll talk about Chelsea. So yeah, let's. No.
Let's just briefly talk about the 6-0 Brighton Wolves.
Oh yes. We have. Does that put Wolves back in trouble? Nah, 37 points. Nah, they're alright. But it certainly won't it won't make the fans feel any safer, will it?
37 points and all, but if you lose 6-0, it's gonna show on your goal difference as well.
Yeah, their goal difference is very bad anyway. But there's Bournemouth, Leeds, Forest, Everton, and Southampton have all got worse. Oh no, Leeds is the same.
Yeah, Leeds is the same.
You're breathing on your mic. It's It's like having a conversation with Darth Vader. It is.
I guess I should say I know.
Hmm?
I guess I should say yeah, I know what you mean, but
And please don't tell me
I
you
leave
don't
it
know
at
who
that.
Darth Vader is.
I know who Darth Vader is, but most of my knowledge comes from
Sorry?
Family Guy parodies.
You break it up. Now you break it up. This is even worse. What have you done?
No, most of my knowledge of Star Wars comes from Family Guy parody episodes.
Oh God. Oh
Yeah, I
God.
know Darth Vader, but
Oh
I'd be
God.
lying if I told you I've ever watched a minute of Star Wars.
Oh. This could be a hard. This could be a hard conversation then. We'll forget that one then. We'll just move on from there.
Hey, most if not all of those movies came before I was born or even learned to speak
Don't start
English,
making
whatever.
excuses. Don't start making excuses. You're older than my daughter, my oldest daughter, and she's seen them all many times.
No,
She was
no, I'm
obsessed
not.
with them.
I'm not. No, no, let's not go into that.
Oh, he's just making excuses. God. Good job Ed Seven isn't here. He'd be crying right now. That's that's his baby, so this. Right. Anyways, forget that. Anyway, what were we talking about? Where were we?
Brighton and Wolves,
Oh yeah.
6-0.
This is a
6-0, but no, but what you have to keep in mind is Brighton actually rested McAllister, Caicedo, and what's his name, Mitoma.
yeah. They're three
They were
key
all on the
players.
bench.
But they've been struggling. They've been knackered, haven't they, Brighton? They looked like they were done. And then all of a
Oh, but
sudden,
they were cruising, man. When I turned on, it was already 3-0. 2 minutes later, of all the players, Danny Welbeck goes on and scores.
the thing is that, what was I going to say? Yeah, this is, Lopetegui's done this a few times this season. If you look at their defeats, quite often he's just tinkered with the team and they've fallen apart. He seems to be one of those. He's still learning the Premier League, and he seems to think you can just rotate players willy nilly and play players out of position and stuff. Apparently, Nunez was right back.
No. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Well,
That
the
is what I
Wolves.
didn't. No, that's what I didn't get when you said like, oh, he's been tinkering. No, they had a decent team out, but Nunez played right back after Semedo went off injured, and he was already 4-0 at that time.
Oh, they were complaining about him being at right back anyway. The Wolves
Yeah, they can
fans.
complain, but it was after 4-0.
Right. Okay. They never said that. They just moaned about him being at right. Well, basically, they were all. This has been something that, like, even before the kickoff, like when they saw the lineup, they were expecting to get beat badly. You could tell. You know what I mean? The way they were talking about Lopetegui made some changes. Apparently he's done this a few times. But I mean, this is something managers come into the Premier League, and it seems to happen a lot. You can get away with it when you Pep Guardiola and your Man City team. You can make the changes, but even they've had a few, dodgy results where he's made changes, because it's different where they go. In like the Bundesliga and La Liga and that. Rafa Benitez used to do it all the time. He used to change the team for these for games like this, and he'd get caught out all the time. It cost Liverpool loads of times under Rafa. It cost City have got lost points. It's just these managers, when they're coming in, they're new to it. They often underestimate certain games. They don't realise that a team like Brighton, yes, they may be knackered in that, and they may be struggling, but they'll come back up for it because they get hurt and it's teams in the Premier League. Every team wants to win every game. You know what I mean? They try and win it. It's very rare that you watch a team unless they're managed by David Moyes that give in and just accept you know, they're gonna go for a draw from the start, like, or so it's just something that happens, and I think Lopetegui will eventually learn from it. It's just whether he learns in time or whether he can change the way he is in time to.
I thought it was my take on the game was I think Wolves thought they're already safe and have nothing to play for.
I think that was part of the problem.
And I think when that happens, when you think like you've got nothing to play for, or when you go like two goals down, 3 goals down. I don't know what happened because I only tuned in after it was 3 different. Sometimes like when you don't have the right attitude, just goes shit.
Yeah, they're on the beach.
Yeah. After a certain point, like it's just the players already like give up. There is no any cohesion and anything, and like most of the goals came from Wolves' mistake. It wasn't like
that's what we use.
Brighton played really well. They forced those errors, but still they were errors. Like Nunez was getting caught on possession multiple times. They were like passes short sometimes, or like a run doesn't get right at all, and all those things. It happens. You just have to hope. Like for Wolves' sake, you just have to hope next game the players turn up.
I'm not so sure I'd be thinking the same as you if I was one of the fans or one of the staff at the club either. Because
I'd be furious if I was one of the staff.
Yeah,
if I was like
players doing that, they'd be players I'd be looking to offload. Simple as that. But you see it, you do see it time and time again. Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson, every time they reach 40
they were famous for it. Like 40 points and stop.
Yeah, literally stop. It's like they've just gone on holiday, aren't they? Yeah, so you could be right. That could be the problem with Wolves. But he definitely, Lopetegui tinkered, and it's become a theme with him. Every time they've had poor performances, he's tinkered apparently. So I can only go by what the Wolves fans are saying until I can get a chance to watch some of these games back. Which is my plan for the week, is start watching through all the games I've missed.
Even if you don't watch the whole game, watch the highlights at least and like enjoy it.
You're breaking up, mate.
Even if you don't get to watch the whole game, just make sure you watch Pascal Gross's second goal. It was a very good finish. It's a very good goal.
Yeah, I prefer to watch the full games just because, like, you know, I like to watch the full game. I don't really like watching highlights. I find it a bit, because they tend to be very much who the producer wants to show, you know, what the producer wants to show, rather than what actually happened in the game. I've been to games and I've thought one team's battered the other team, and you get out and watch the highlights, and it looked like the team you thought absolutely destroyed the other got a hiding. And you're thinking, hang on, you know, I was there, and it was definitely not that. They've missed out, so, you know, they'll miss out so many things.
It's not a true reflection, but
yeah, so
it shows you the moments.
True. Some moments. Anyway, should we move on to the actual... So we've talked about the relegation battle itself. We're sure it's Southampton. We're pretty sure it's Southampton going down, I should say. You think it might be anyone up to Chelsea, possibly? Wishful thinking.
It sounds like so hilarious when you say like Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean that is serious wishful thinking, though. Let's be honest. Yeah, it's.
Oh, no, I'm just saying they're lucky. They have enough. What seems to be enough points to be safe. But
You can't.
Otherwise, if they continue on this form, they would give Derby's record low total a real competition.
Oh, I totally agree. If they'd have replaced Potter sooner with Frank Lampard, they'd have been, and there was no way he scored. Lampard's just not scoring a point, is he? He's not got a clue what he's doing as a manager. Are we going to talk
Did he
about?
get a draw?
No, I think hasn't he lost every Premier League game since he's.
No, in their last 5 games, it's 4 losses and 1 draw. I don't know whether that draw was Potter or Lampard.
I don't know now. I thought I read somewhere that he lost every game, scored 1, conceded something like 19 or something.
I think I can find that.
That might not be Premier League games anyway. That might be overall.
Yeah, overall games. Yeah,
Yeah.
At least they were defensively solid enough under Potter.
I think they did get a draw with Lampard, but in the Champions League, wasn't it?
No, they lost to Chelsea. Sorry, Real Madrid. Yeah, whichever.
No,
Lampard hasn't done a brilliant job. That's
Yeah.
that's the long and short of it.
It's awful. Let's be honest. Is there a more stupid decision than to sack Potter and bring in Lampard? I mean, of all the people to sack him for, is there a worse choice they could have made? Do you think?
No, I said it when we had the discussion before and as well. There wasn't much point in sacking Potter if they weren't gonna bring the next guy in.
It's got to be somebody. It had to be somebody top class. Otherwise, why bother? That's the thing.
No, if they wanted someone else, and let's say that guy is, let's say it was Thomas Tuchel, for example. You sack Potter, then you just bring him in. If you're not gonna bring the next guy in right now, anyways, just ride it along with Graham Potter. You never know. Maybe he gets 2 or 3 decent results, if nothing else. After all, he was the guy you brought in. It's not like he was someone else that was already at the club and you wanted to change anyways and whatever.
Yeah, it was a very strange decision to get rid of him for when they did, and for when the option it seems to be Pochettino. I don't get that one either.
Well, I guess there aren't many managers that would happily take the job.
Yeah, but I think you're missing the big.
I don't know what the deal is. But apparently Nagelsmann ultimately turned them down. So did Luis Enrique.
Well, wouldn't you? I don't get Enrique. He's terrible anyway. I wouldn't have had him anywhere near there. He's another one. Why he's in the running? I don't understand it. But like Pochettino.
Because he has won a treble, man. Come on.
Yeah, but it wasn't because he was good. Yeah, this is the thing.
Oh, you really think Todd Bowley is the judge of true footballing ability and all those things?
It's not.
He can only read the papers. And records that say.
Who are supposed to be football men. Why are these advices? My point is, anyway, with Pochettino, why are these advisors advising him to go for someone who's going to be as popular with the Chelsea fans as Potter was at his final days? Because Pochettino's not going to be popular. If there's a slightest run of bad results, the fans are going to be immediately against him because he's an ex-Spurs man.
They don't need a run of bad results. They just need to lose to Tottenham Hotspur, and that's gonna be the end of his grace period with the fans.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't.
One bad result is gonna turn the whole fan base.
It could do, yeah. It is on a knife edge because he's an ex-Spurs man. It's ridiculous.
Imagine it's Tottenham Hotspur. Chelsea just almost like it's a blanket statement, but never lose to Spurs, right? It's like what Frank Lampard used to say when he was the Chelsea player. Like when he joined, they used to call Tottenham like not White Hart Lane, it's 3-point lane.
Yeah.
Imagine Pochettino goes there and loses.
Yeah.
Everybody is gonna be like, it's gonna be like Rafa Benitez situation all over again with what happened at Everton.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not.
So some fans you're never gonna win around, and most of the other fans you're gonna lose pretty quickly if you have one or two bad results.
Yeah, it is a ridiculous decision. It's well, it is very similar. You're right, Rafa at Everton. You're putting in an enemy basically into their position, and then you're hoping it can turn it around. It's just, it's going to be difficult at best. I think it's a mistake, just like the Rafa one was, and I think it will go the same way, to be honest. Especially with the state of their squad, it's not a. You look at that Chelsea team, and yes, it's not as bad as it's playing, admittedly. It's not as bad as the level it's at right now, but it's not a particularly good squad, is it?
No, like to sum up Chelsea's squad, it's my opinion. It's probably not completely true, but after spending so much money, after having so many players come in, you can't have so many positions where you look and say like there are glaring holes there.
It's not.
You don't say like it's upgradable. You see like that position is a weak position. It can't be happening like that, but it is for them.
They
They
just
need a
bought.
better they need a better keeper.
They only.
They need a reliable right back. They need a decent midfield. They need a decent attack still, and they've spent like $500 million worth of money.
And the centre back they did buy that was good, they never play in Badiashile. I don't understand what's happening there. What's he done so wrong? And
Well, he wasn't registered in the Champions League
yeah, but why
squad,
wasn't he?
and the,
That's that.
because
Questions are
they
going to
had
be
like what
asked.
you can only add 3 new players in January, and the third centre back is the most covered position. That was the rationale thrown around. I don't know if I can agree with that. But
Yeah, I just yeah, you got to say you look at them and you don't think I don't think they fixed a single issue in with their transfers in the summer or January. Did they? Not one.
so if Pochettino comes in, I guess it's enough talk about just Chelsea. Does he go after Harry Kane? And what does Harry Kane do? Let's just move to Spurs. It's not like Spurs are flying around either.
Yeah, Spurs are awful.
Does he go after Kane? Does Pochettino go after Kane?
I think he will. 100%. He's got to, hasn't he? I mean, you want to improve your team, you need a striker. Who else do you go for in Chelsea's position? Though personally,
Yeah, but what?
I don't think it's what they need.
No, I think under Pochettino it's gonna work.
No, I don't know. I just think it'll be too much money for too old a player.
How much is Levy gonna charge? Is he even gonna deal with Chelsea?
He won't deal with Chelsea, that's the thing. So it's probably a pointless discussion, really, isn't it? Thinking about it, because he won't deal with Chelsea. Not in a million years.
But he should. Because I think selling Kane is gonna be a big black mark on Daniel Levy, right? With the fans.
Exactly. So he can't sell him to Chelsea. Sell him to Chelsea, I'd be like spitting in the
No, but
man's face.
he can say I didn't want to sell, but still look here. Would rather play no European football with Chelsea than play Europa League or whatever football with us. He can spin that around.
But that just makes him look like that just makes Levy look like a dick as well, though. If he sells him to someone else, who's one of their top teams, then he can turn around and say, I had no choice, he was forcing his way out. And at least it wasn't Chelsea.
Will Kane
If he
join
sells it to
Chelsea?
Chelsea,
Maybe
he
Kane
can't
just
sell it
doesn't.
to Chelsea.
Should. Maybe
He can't.
Kane just doesn't join Chelsea because apparently he's one of their own. Spurs
Even
his
though he's
own.
an Arsenal fan. Everyone knows he was an Arsenal fan as a kid, so I don't think he's really one of their own, is he?
No, but that was before it, right? It's just like Jamie Carragher is one of Liverpool Football Club's own, although he's an Evertonian.
Yeah, he was, yeah. But that's not quite the same thing.
He is. You can't say he was.
But he spent his career at Liverpool. It's a totally different thing. The reason why he's, why it'd be the same as why, I don't think Kane had to worry about his family being spat on and attacked in the street by Everton fans, by Arsenal fans. I mean, for joining the other side, like Robbie Fowler and his whole family literally, and Jamie Carragher, whose whole family literally turned on Everton because of it. Because of the way they were treated by Everton fans. I don't think he's had quite the same thing with Arsenal fans, has he? But then they've never...
I think I've actually found the perfect solution for Harry Kane in the month or two that we've been off. I think it should be PSG that he joins.
I think that's the most likely, to be honest.
No, but PSG probably won't come in for him.
You think that's the most
It
likely?
should be.
Why? Because they
No, I don't know. Likely, I think the best solution for him. Yeah, Messi is definitely going.
Yeah, Neymar.
Because he's not signing the new contract.
And Neymar, they're trying desperately to get rid of. So they've been trying to offload.
But nobody.
Over
Who's gonna sign Neymar? Nobody's gonna come in for Neymar. And don't start with Man United. Don't start with Man United.
I was thinking more along the lines of Todd Bowley might do.
Oh yeah, that's a decent sound.
Yeah, exactly. They were already offered him last summer, and they considered it. So maybe we will this time. I don't know. You can't. It depends on the money, doesn't it? I think if it's like. I think even they've got their limits, and I think he's probably beyond them, to be honest. So I don't know. You might be right. PSG might well be stuck with Neymar again. No, I can't see how it's though without Messi to back him up and his other friends. If they start getting, which they're trying to do, is get rid of a lot of his allies in the squad. Yeah, it's not gonna. His position's completely untenable there, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think Kane should go to PSG if the opportunity arises. Next up is Bayern, but Bayern look less likely now. And Man United, that just never seems to go away.
Bayern is still interested, so that might be the best. That might be the best solution all round, actually, for him. The problem is,
I think PSG is the best solution for him. Next up would be Bayern, because Bayern are a shit. We'll probably get to it, but Bayern are a shit show as well.
Yeah, but so are PSG.
No, PSG are a different kind of shit show. Bayern are... something... I have a feeling something horrendous is going to turn up at Bayern pretty soon.
Do you mean Thomas Tuchel?
No, I think something's gonna go like massively wrong for them.
You mean like
and
Nagelsmann
not just losing?
Tuchel? You think they're gonna? That's the point. Do you think Dortmund can do it?
They drew last night.
I know, but they're still 2 points ahead. So Bayern have to win to go ahead of them. Go back ahead. I mean, the pressure there. And Tuchel's not doing well.
I like... Okay, let's just pivot from Spurs. We'll get back to them again. But I personally think like it would be a very good end of his story for Jude Bellingham if he delivered them the title.
Hmm.
And I watched them last week. It was, I think, but they won 4-0. And I think Jude was playing through some kind of an injury, so I think it's a good sign and a bad sign both at the same time, because he's super young. He should be playing through injuries. I've seen with Rashford what it can happen ultimately. You end
Yeah.
up having a horrendous. You end up having a layoff that could have just been avoided with 3 weeks off or 6 weeks. 6 weeks
Yeah.
off.
But
That's
Dortmund
by the
can't
by.
afford to lose him, can they?
Yeah, that was my point. Like they don't have the squad power, and I know they're out of the Champions League. They're probably still in the Pokal, I think. Maybe even out of it, but still, they don't have the same firepower, same artillery waiting to back them up when things aren't going as well. And Bayern, you just can't count them out. I was wishing Dortmund would win, but I'm worried now after last night.
Yeah, I do
If
worry for them. I think they might have blown it, but yeah, let's hope not, because I'd like to see them do it. Be nice to have a change. It's always nice. Anyway, should we go back to where were we in the Premier League?
Spurs, they need a new manager. The whole Conte drama
And the
happened after.
Stellini thing. Why did they keep Stellini in charge? Somebody's got to explain this. Stellini was a big part of the problem there. A huge part of the problem there. It was Conte went to battle to get him to come in with him, and there was nothing but problems with the two of them in charge there. Why did they keep him there, and why did they put him in caretaker charge? So can somebody
I don't know.
explain this?
I don't think anybody can explain that.
It's just
Maybe it was just to do with the fact that Tottenham had decent results when Conte was away with his surgeries and suspension and still was in charge. Maybe they thought. I don't know why they would think that, but maybe they thought that was indication enough to keep him on. But have you ever, like, in all your decades and decades and decades and decades and decades long of football fandom, have you ever seen such a thing? Like, you fire the coach, you bring in an interim, bring someone in for the rest of the season as interim, and then you fire him 3 games later.
I'm just thinking it's a good job you can't see my face when you were saying that about the decades and decades and decades. You little
Why did I miss like
shitbag.
3 or 4
You
decades?
little shitbag, I tell ya. Just, bastard. Well, I forgot what the question was. It was so you went through so many
Have you
decades.
ever
No, I know, I'm joking. I honestly can't remember anything like this season as in coaching wise in general. It's just an absolute shambles. And the ones that you think should have been sacked, the Steve Coopers and that you thought like were in, they were like
David
in a normal
Moyes?
season. David Moyes, Steve Cooper, they're the two that you would expect in a normal season to go. They're two that are still there going strong. And in a relegation battle, still in the same position that would have normally got them the sack. It's unreal this season. Yeah, the Conte thing. I mean, obviously Conte was only a short tier. It was always going to be a problem, but afterwards, what happened is just an absolute joke. Spurs, though, innit? I mean, they just do whatever they can to shoot themselves in the foot, don't they?
No, but I don't think why like Spurs actually sacked Conte. I don't know because he didn't say anything. Like, basically, like, if you have to summarize what he said Spurs are Spursy. The whole world knows that Spurs are Spursy.
Hmm.
He said like the minimal amount of pressure can completely destroy the whole club dynamic, and he's completely correct.
But it's his job to fix that, and he wasn't doing it. So rather than,
I
I
know,
would say, rather
but
than
I'm saying
sitting there
like he
complaining
didn't
about it.
say anything like revolutionary or anything like that. Wasn't known. Like,
No,
come on, he called out Spurs for being Tottenham Hotspur. That's it.
no, I fully agree with what you're saying, but his job is to fix it rather than just say this is what happens, and that's what he wasn't
Oh, it
doing.
was hilarious. If you ask me, it was so hilarious. Come on.
No, I'm with you on that. I think it's it's great entertainment, but like he shouldn't have been saying it in public. He should have been working on fixing it. At the end of the day, he's the manager. It's his fault if they're still like that, because he should be getting the players to play differently if there's a problem like that.
Oh, but they they brought Conte in. They brought at least some of the players he wanted, and now they've got nothing to show for it except a poor squad.
Oh, they're awful though. I mean, how are they so far up the league? It just shows how bad this season's been in terms of the top end. It's been a very strange league season. I mean, City have not looked anything like. Should we? Yeah, don't forget
Like
that. I'd change. Sorry.
if I look at the Spurs, if I look at the Spurs squad, I will say like there are hardly 5 players that are worth having in a top 4 battling team.
You'd say 5. We'll have to have a look now.
No,
'Cause I
no,
can
I'm
think,
not
I can
saying
think of
starting.
5.
No, I'm not saying starting players. I'm saying in a squad. A
Oh, the
squad of
squad.
25 players.
Alright, I'm gonna have a look
Yeah,
at
yeah,
that.
in a squad of 20-25 players, I would say like there are about 5 players I would have.
Well,
That's about it.
certainly wouldn't touch any of those shit goalkeepers. That Fraser
No,
Forster
no, no.
is possibly the worst goalkeeper ever to play in the Premier League. Yeah, you got Romero.
Yeah, Romero I'd have, and then Harry
got
Kane I'd
Romero.
have, Kulusevski.
Bissouma if he was playing like he did it.
No. He's been horrendous. Let's not
Yeah.
take him. Let's not kid
But
ourselves.
I'm saying if
We're
he'd
not.
been playing, and even Perisic if he'd played how he'd been playing before, but
Yeah, like I would have Heung-min Son if he was playing like he did last
Son,
season.
yep,
But this
Son.
season, no. This season I'm
Kulusevski if
not
he was
taking
playing
him
last
on.
season. So you've only got, basically, if you're going on this season's performances, you've got Christian Romero
And Harry Kane.
and Harry Kane. Yeah, that's it.
And if he wasn't injured, maybe Rodrigo Bentancur. He was looking decent. And I'm not saying he's gonna start. I'm saying he's worthy of having in the squad. Kulusevski, if he wasn't getting constantly injured.
Hmm.
That's 4 players, and Son. It's a situation. Do you back him on his reputation, or do you say like he's starting to slow down in his career? But that's about it.
It's a very good point. So, as Stephen just said, he just wanted to point out how bad Spurs are, yet they still managed to take a point off Man U despite coming from 2 down. That wasn't very Spursy, was it? In fact, I would have said Man U were more Spursy in that occasion.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but in fact, recently, it's gotta be said, Man United are looking a bit Spursy, aren't they?
no, it's not looking Spursy. I'll break it down to you. What's happened is
Right.
I watch us play, we end up winning the match. I don't watch us play, we end up leading the match 2-0 and then 2-2. That's it. That's what's been happening.
Right, so it's all down
Lead.
to you then, is that what it is? It's not that they're
And
Spursy.
and it's been happening for about like 2-3 months, I think. Like Leeds 2-0. I didn't watch that game. We lead and then it's 2-2 against Leeds. I watch, it's 2-0. Sevilla, I don't watch. We draw and then we lose. Like
Right.
Nottingham Forest in between, we won because I was watching the game. The managers need to make sure they can get in contact with me, pay me money to watch our games, maybe even fly me over to UK. Who knows?
I don't think it works like that, I'm afraid. But it could be you could be onto something.
Yeah, but
there.
again, back to Spurs. How the hell do you lose 6-1 to Newcastle and next time you go 2-0 down, man? Where is the reaction? That is why they are Tottenham Hotspur, man. They just don't have that. After we lost 7-0, we at least won the next game. After we lost to you guys, we won the next game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, after Liverpool won, beat you
There is
7
no
0, they would have
reaction.
lost to the next game. So.
No, but there is no reaction from
Oh,
Spurs. They don't. I'm saying like
no,
like
they
Conte
just
is
did the
right. The
same
club
again.
doesn't. Yeah, yeah. The club doesn't have the fire, the desire to. They just don't get hurt when they lose. That's the issue.
No, they're all full of the glory, glory Tottenham Hotspur stuff. But they, they sing about it, the fans sing about it, but I don't think the actual club itself remembers any of it.
I would have. I was worried. I was actually worried. Like, oh, why did Newcastle have to go 6-1? They could have just won 2-1, and then that would have been fine. Oh no, maybe like, players actually like now want to fight for the club. But no, they were lucky to escape with the 2-2. Bloody hell! If I was a Spurs supporter, I would be like pulling away at very little hair that I've left.
Yeah, it's
And yeah, I am trying to deflect from the fact that we've been very shaky to be polite when we go into the lead. We're better off chasing when we are a goal or two down, man.
sometimes teams are better when they're having to fight back, though. It's not a bad thing sometimes. When you're in the position you're in. The problem is when you're not when you're not coming back from, when you're just not
Yeah,
coming
and
back. When you lose a goal and you come back from it, that's not a bad thing. You're a new team. You're building a new side. It's a fresh start. What you need is your team to show fight when they're, show a bit of bottle and that's what they've done so far. To be fair, under Ten Hag.
and like in the recent weeks, we have had the glorious selection of centre backs from Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw, and Harry Maguire. One is a left back.
Oh,
One is a left back. One is not a footballer at all anymore. And the other one is like decent enough, but he's a backup.
yeah,
That's the thing.
Harry Maguire is the gift that keeps on giving to non-Man United fans. And it's his own fault. I've seen people say, people shouldn't be so hard on him. Must be really, his head must be gone. He must be really suffering mentally and that. But every time you watch him, he's an arrogant, strutting twat. And you just think, I'm sorry, but he's bringing it all on himself because of his attitudes, where he does that stupid celebration after scoring against some minnow in international
No,
football, like it suddenly
he
proves
comes out
he's a
saying like
great goal.
he comes out saying he thinks he has a role to play in like win next however many games for United in the Europa League. He thinks he can play a role in winning the trophies for the club and all. You're behind a left back in the centre back picking order, brother. Come to realization.
That's the
You're
thing.
behind, and the thing is, you're behind a left back who is renowned to be defensively poor.
He just doesn't seem to. He just doesn't seem to grasp the fact that he needs to knuckle down and work rather than talk. That's the thing. Stop talking. Just do your job. Stay out the media. That's what you need to do when you're in his position. But it's like he's got no shame.
I think like from his endeavors, his behaviors, from his interviews, his quotes, whatever things and all, I think he doesn't actually think he's been playing bad. It's just like the manager hasn't been picking him. I think that is what he thinks.
Yeah, it's
And that's
always
a bad
somebody else's fault. That's the way it comes across. Is that he honestly thinks he's still a good player. He thinks he's a good player and he should be being picked. But the manager's just not picking him, and he doesn't. It's like he doesn't understand why. That's how it feels.
I think he doesn't understand that his performances haven't been good enough, and he has I don't think he wants to know with the manager, with the staff, what have I not been doing well enough? How can I improve? How can I get back into the team? He thinks I'm doing what I've been doing all along, and then I'm gonna be back in the team. That's not how it works. And
Yeah,
Ten Hag has already shown that's not how it works with him, especially with him. It doesn't work like that.
oh yeah, because you're not. He's simply never been good enough, and it's just shocking that you bought him, let alone that he's still there. Which, while we're on the subject of players like that, how's Wan-Bissaka been getting on? Because you know,
Oh, I think right now, if you ask me, I think he's the first choice right back again. It's back to being first choice. Dalot's form has been a little iffy after the World Cup, and like Wan-Bissaka has always been a very, very accomplished 1v1 defender, right? It's no debate about that.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
Now he's been like on the ball. He's been more decisive. He's not gonna play your raking passes and be a playmaker, right? Like Trent, but now he retains possession. He moves the ball along, and now he's starting to show signs that he is actually a winger that has been converted into a right back. Now he's showing to like dribbling skills. He can play decent cutbacks, decent crosses. Not a world beater at attacking, but I'm very impressed with his attitude, his performance, his improvement, and I'm also impressed with the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, I think that was what he needed. As I said, I've been saying for years, he just needed a coach. He is he was well known for being very coachable at Palace. You know, that was how he ended up in the right back position in the first place, because he was such a good lad that had listened to the coaches, so they put him at left back. I think he said then. They put him at right back when they had the spot, just to give him give him a try there, because at least he'll listen and follow instructions, and we can at least get a look. You know, we can see how I can't remember who he was up against. Zaha, that's it.
Yeah, that is what I was gonna say. He made a name in training by just being unbeatable for Zaha. And
he destroys Zaha. Hates him.
No, he basically destroys everybody. Like Mitoma hardly had a kick against him when we played Brighton in the FA Cup. Like there's a stat going around that he's been driven past once in the Premier League this season.
But
that wasn't in a 1v1 dribble.
Yeah, but I've
seen the clips. It was more in a 50-50 from a corner.
Those stats can be very misleading though anyway. I remember when Liverpool were signing Jose Enrique, the left back from Newcastle. He had a stat where he'd never been dribbled past. And I was trying to point out to everyone, yes, but it's not because he's a good defender. It's because he's stood 40 yards up the pitch, never chased back. That's why he's never dribbled past, because he's never defended. And like nobody, everyone would say, yeah, but he's got these great defensive stats. Yes, because he's not actually involved in defending.
Yeah, but with Wan-Bissaka, there's both the eye test and the stats. With the eyes, you can see like players hardly dribble past him and all.
I've always liked from the moment I first saw him, I thought this lad's a natural. He really is a natural defender.
He loves the tackle. Loves the tackle.
You've got to question how in the youth teams he ended up as a winger rather than a defender in the first place. I mean, he's clearly a natural defender, loves to get stuck in.
And he doesn't have the attributes of a winger.
No, he's got no skills. He's got no... He's
not great in possession. That's a definite.
Yeah, he's not technically straight. He's not that strong. It's like they must have just said, "Oh, we'll just stick him on the wing out the way where we can keep him. We keep him away from the ball, like sort of thing, or something." Because he was quite quick. That's the only reason I can think of that he ended up there for Palace as a kid. Because he's clearly not a winger, and he's just not an attacking player, is he? He's a defender.
And to get back to your question, I think Wan-Bissaka's resurgence has basically made right back a lot less important for in the summer. We can at least get by another season, get both Dalot and Wan-Bissaka one more season to either they make the position their own or just make the mind up for us that no, they're not good enough. At
Yeah,
least one of them.
looks like we'll have
And
two
Dalot
more
looked
anyway.
and Dalot looked much better when he was playing left back. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know how that's possible.
He's an odd one, Dallo. He looked to have so much potential, and then he signed for Man United, and he's just never looked like he's just never looked like a player.
He had a lot of injuries as well. And
Hmm.
you never know how players recover with injuries sometimes.
True.
One
True. That's
one
fair.
innocuous simple injury can just hamper the whole development and their whole career.
Yeah, that's very true. It can destroy a career very easy. Even little niggles can be worse than a big injury because they can affect you mentally. If you keep getting them. So.
Yeah, I'm no expert. I'm a couch potato who loves to make the judgment calls all the time. I think hip injuries, knee injuries, and ankle injuries are very bad.
Hmm.
And Dalot has persistent hip injuries.
Yeah, to be honest, it really depends on the player. I mean, it's a lot of it it's mental, and so it depends on their mentality. I mean, you look at Michael Owen. Once he started picking up that, it was hamstring injuries for him. They destroyed him. He was never the same player, but before he left for Real Madrid, even because
Yeah,
of
and
them, because it
I always
constantly
get back to
affected him.
Fernando Torres.
Fernando Torres, another one that was ankle problem, but it cost him his acceleration, and he was never the same
No, but
player.
the experts that worked with him were like physically he has made uh, 100% recovery, but
Yeah,
because
mentally, he never was able
yeah,
to.
mentally he never recovered, so his
Yeah, he
body
was.
doesn't react as it
Yeah, he
used to
wasn't.
before.
He wasn't able to put the same to move with the same pace because mentally, both of those players just lost their explosive acceleration because they were too scared to just go like they used to. So they lost that split second of acceleration that used to allow them to have the chance to score. That's a massive problem for a defender. It's just saying because it's that split second of acceleration that allows you to get in position at the right time, or make a crucial block or tackle, you know. So yeah, it is a big thing. You're right. It could be purely down to that, and it is probably likely. Actually, you're probably right. Should we move on to the top of the table anyway? The actual title battle, because we've talked about Man
We're not
United.
gonna
We'll come back
discuss. We're
to
not,
Man.
we're not gonna discuss top four.
I thought we'd start with the top two and then move down to it. But yeah, we
Oh,
could do.
okay.
We'll do the top four now. I was just thinking, well, because we've talked enough about Man United, and we're going to end up coming back to them later on the with the ownership thing, haven't we? So
Yeah, but in top four, do you think it's gonna stay the same? Just I'm not asking for the order. Just the same four teams: Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Man United. Do any other teams have a genuine
wow.
chance? Mathematically, they do. Realistically,
I mean, you're only looking at Brighton and Liverpool that have actually got a chance of making it in there, haven't you? And I can't see
yeah,
Newcastle or
but
Man
there's a
United
certain
dropping enough points, to be honest. I mean, clearly
yeah,
Arsenal
but
are Man
there's a certain
City's.
Aston Villa. There's a certain Aston Villa who have their destiny mostly in their own
Yeah, but they
hands, but
no,
at least for Europa League.
yeah, but you look at they've played 33. Man United have played 31. Newcastle have played 32, and they're already many points, 6 points behind Man United, who have got 2 games in hand over them, and 8 behind Newcastle, who have got 1 game in hand over.
Yeah,
You
but
can't see them
they
catching it.
play us. They play us
Yeah, but
next. That's
I
the thing
know
for them.
Emery's done brilliantly, and they're definitely, but I just don't think they're ready for it yet. I just don't think they're that. They've got the squad for it. Not yet. Maybe they, they.
Is it just me, or have Aston Villa just snuck up on them all out of nowhere? Like I thought, yeah, Emery's been doing decent, but Aston Villa, I guess they're around ninth. I guess they're around ninth. I guess they're around ninth. All of a sudden, they're sixth and in with a shout for European football. What? I thought you were fighting for 9th, 10th. They were just fighting with Fulham for top 10 places.
Yeah, but you got to remember, both Chelsea and Liverpool and Tottenham are having awful years. But
Yeah, but Aston Villa were having an awful time under Gerrard,
Gerrard.
and they were
Yeah,
like
Emery's like
instantly
I said, Emery's
champions.
done brilliantly, but like they have spent huge sums of money under the new ownership.
No, I'm
They
just saying like they just gone mostly under at least my radar, and like
mm,
all of a sudden now they're making a genuine play for
I
European
don't know.
football.
I knew they were up there because I've been watching that battle. You know, the place above Liverpool. So you've probably not been you're
You
probably
were
not been
worried.
looking down. Yeah,
No,
because you're far
I
enough
thought
ahead
maybe like my
that you're
point was
clear.
like one of my point I was trying to get to is like maybe Aston Villa games haven't been televised enough.
Yeah, maybe I
That
don't
could
know.
be the thing. That maybe that's why they've not been on my radar as well.
Yeah, could well be because I don't know what games are televised, so it's kind of a struggle here to find out anything at the moment. Being last month in particular has been like my worst time. It feels like I
Oh,
don't know what we
and
used to do
over here
without it.
over here it's IPL season, so no chance. You get
Yeah.
more than one TV channel, so no chance.
Yeah.
You've got four channels, so that one single game at a time. Okay, it's not like 3 or 4 games. One single game, 4 channels.
Wow. Yeah, that's odd. So yeah,
Yeah, but for 3 games, only one channel, so you only get one game.
weird. So do you think Villa are in with a shout then? Because I look at it, I can't see them catching 6 points on a team with 2 games
No,
in
no,
hand, or 8 on a team with 1 game in hand. Not in the games that are left. If they hadn't had Gerrard in charge in the early part of the season, if they'd started the season under Emery, I think they'd be in the top. They'd be right up there, battling you. But I think they just that handicap's set them back too far.
like I think we're gonna get to that phrase anyways. But if Newcastle or Man United don't finish in the top four, it will be bottling it.
Yeah, they'd have to bottle it to lose it. And I just don't see that happening. Not when they've got that big a cushion, to be
And
honest.
it's what 7 games for us, right?
Yeah,
And for most of the teams, it's either 6 or 5 games. Like
exactly.
6 points and like 12 games. Yeah, you would say like not safe, but now
Hey, you got
would
you've
be
got to you got to
like
fancy your chances, surely. You in Newcastle now, you've got to feel like confident at least.
yeah, like our next game, like Villa have a very important next game. If they win, then they're at least in with an outside chance. If they lose, they're out of it.
Hmm. I just don't see Villa making it. I can see them making the top five. If I think the Liverpool and Brighton and Aston Villa, I think, are more likely than Tottenham because the mess
Oh,
they're in. You'd have to fancy it's between. It could end up with Tottenham ended up slipping down to 8th by the end of the season if they're not careful, or even 9th. I mean, Brentford aren't that far behind him.
yeah, Brentford what 4 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got one more game. But
Yeah, but this is
Spurs again.
Spurs. Yeah, that could make things worse because they could just ruin their goal difference even further beyond. So yeah, so you don't fancy Spurs to pick up the points, do you? Let's be honest. I don't see them as a threat to Newcastle or Man United. It is definitely Villa, Liverpool, or Brighton, and I think if Villa had played less games, or the same number of games as Liverpool or Brighton, then you'd fancy their chances. But that extra game they've played, I think, I just think Gerrard was too much of a handicap to come back from. To be fair, you can't blame Emery at all. He's done wonders, which is a bit of a surprise, I've got to say. He does seem to do well with a team that's not expected to win things. A team that's not expecting that, where the fans don't expect a challenge and are just happy to be along for the ride, like he was with Sevilla and that.
no, basically like the term is cup teams, right? He seems to do
Yeah,
well with cup teams. Teams that are happy to be in the top half of the table and if they get into the latter stages of a cup, it's a success season.
Yeah, but
And he seems to do like excel in those at those clubs.
the question is how will he succeed in the long term when they've got bigger ambitions for the club? The ownership have that, and what's his name? Nasir is it Nasir? Oh, what's his name? The Egyptian guy and the other fella that own them. They've got big ambitions and are looking to pump money in.
Oh, if they've got an Egyptian owner, maybe they can bring in the Egyptian Messiah.
Salah, I can't see that happening.
Yeah, Salah.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that there hasn't been any talk of that, but no. But yeah, I think basically it's Newcastle, Man United, and Arsenal, Man City. The top four is going to finish that way. It's just which order first and second is, and which order third and fourth is to be decided.
Oh, I thought first and second was basically settled, wasn't it? Because Arsenal have bottled it.
They look to have bottled it, but that doesn't mean Man City won't make a mess of things, because Pep has a tendency to do stupid things, hasn't he? So,
no, he won't do it in the league.
Well, you say that, but look at the way they started the season. He's been doing it all season.
Yeah, but don't you think he knows Arsenal are basically Tottenham Hotspurs in red jerseys?
They are these
for the past decade. For the past decade and a half, they've been Tottenham Hotspur that plays in red.
Yeah, they do seem to have a tendency to just just give up, aren't they, and just fold.
They can't handle the pressure. Sorry, but that's my observation for the past decade or so.
Since Vieira and that, since that Vieira era and that ended, under Wenger, it was the tail end of the Wenger's time at Arsenal. It started happening.
No, it's not tail end. It's basically 2010s. Start of 2010s. Yeah, but you can say it's tail end because it's like 16, 20 years. Yeah, whatever the exact number is. But yeah, they just don't seem to be able to handle pressure. And they don't have the It always comes back to the same thing when you talk about any other team going as Man City. It's the squad depth, the quality.
Yeah, they've got and their managers. Much as
come on, Arteta is the manager of the season. Come on.
Is he? I mean, what's he done differently?
He was a month ago. A month ago, he was nailed on for manager of the season. Come on, he was the best young manager in the world.
You know what I think? It's not what he's done so well that's made the difference. It's actually putting Saliba in the team, being forced to put Saliba in the team that's made the difference. And we can see as soon as Saliba's out, they look like a mess, and he hasn't got a clue what to do. To change things. He's just shown again, and he's done exactly the same thing with that Balogun as well, hasn't he? Sent him out on loan when he should have been in the first team, and bought a player to replace. Spent 50 million on a player to replace a player that should have been in the first team. And again, what do they
do with Balogun, man? Yeah, there is no place for him in the first team. No, come on. Let's be realistic.
Because Jesus is crap, let's be honest. He's still ridiculously overrated. He's still not a good striker. And yet he still gets in the team. I mean, he brought him back into the team. See, this is the thing that Brendan Rodgers did as well. He had a lot of success playing young kids. But as soon as he got the chance, he brought players to replace the kids. And they let him down. And that's what's happening with Arsenal. He's brought back in Jesus from injury, come back from injury, put him straight back in the team rather than carrying on with what they were doing. And it's costing him. It's managerial errors. Whether he'll learn from them or not is the question. I can't see it though. I just don't think he's the type. I think he thinks he's right, and he'll always think he's right, no matter no matter how many times he's proven wrong. He'll just think it's something else that's the issue, rather than himself.
Yeah, like I said it to Ian as well. Like, Arsenal didn't do so well in the domestic cups because they fielded kids, right? Mm-hmm. That was the argument. They fielded kids because Arteta can't manage older players. That's the thing.
Because he got rid of them all. almost all of them, didn't he? He had literally decimated their squad. They were down to like
Yeah,
100.
Arsenal have the youngest squad because any player that's above the age of 25 struggles to get along with Arteta.
Yeah, and he ends up throwing them out the squad. Exactly. And it's always going to be a problem. There's no long-term plan there. People are saying, yeah, but he's got these young players who bring them on, but as they get older, they'll fall out with him and they'll be thrown out. So they're never going to develop and move on. It's
Like, is Gabriel Jesus worth spending 45 million pounds on if you already had a similar player in Lacazette who you could have renewed? You already had a young player, Folarin Balogun. Yeah, it's a surprise that he's done so well and all, but who knows? He could have, instead of let's say 20 goals, he could have scored 10 goals for Arsenal.
But
Still a decent output.
to be honest, it's not like it's a big shout to say still. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't well known that Balogun was a good player. He's been for years. It's been people have been saying he's the future there, but Arteta didn't want to give him the chance. And you had Lacazette who could have been there as the cover, just in case it didn't work out. I don't understand the thinking. I really don't. Jesus is just. He's not, he doesn't score goals. I mean, we've gone through this so many times. Everyone was raving about how great he was at the start of the season. He's playing in an Arsenal team, top of the table, flying high, running away with it. Yet he'd scored less goals than Darwin
Flop of the
Núñez.
season, Darwin Núñez.
It was being claimed as being the worst player in the world at the time. Was just another Andy Carroll and all this, playing in a team that was absolutely struggling and playing terrible football and not creating the chances. But apparently he was terrible, and yet he'd outscored Jesus. It just makes no sense. It's bizarre, the perception that the media gives out to people, and people believe it because Arteta will be a media darling. It's as simple as that. So no matter what we say, people will still believe that we're talking crap because the media will tell them he's great and he's the greatest young manager in the world and all this shite because they love him. So yeah,
Well, Arsenal have to make sure they don't rush Saliba back from injury too soon. It doesn't sound great. The injury he's had doesn't sound great for a young player. I think they should be very cautious with him. He has a very good career ahead, and let's not try and mess things up just because you're desperate.
I think you.
Plus, they should make sure they tie him down to a longer term deal.
Yeah, he was going to sell him in the summer. That's the thing.
Yeah, but this summer it's either sign him up or sell him up.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah, but what are they going to do this summer? Is he going to be convinced to stay? He can't be happy the way he was messed about there.
Yeah, but he's a fan. Ultimately, he's apparently an Arsenal fan. That's why he joined them in the first place.
And they've got him. They've got to tie him down. You've got to give him a lengthy contract. He's the best young right-sided centre back in the world right now. He's been a massive difference, and you can see how bad Arsenal look without him there. They look a completely different team. I don't know.
He's been the best performing centre back in the league.
He's
you
outstanding.
have to sign him up.
Yeah. If there was any player I could take from any team in the Premier League, it would be he'd be the one I'd take. So I'd prefer a left-sided centre-back to replace Van Dijk. It's got to be said.
I was gonna say no Lika, but I know he's a tad bit rash.
Who's that?
Lisandro Martinez.
Yeah, he's.
No, he's lovable if you're a supporter, but he has his flaws.
Yeah, he's not at the same level as he is Saliba. To be honest, it's totally different. He's great he's the kind of player you want in your team, but he's not the kind of player you're looking for your team to go and buy to build a side to challenge at the very top end, is it?
Oh, and by the way, I know.
Add him to the team, but not
And
to.
just to cut you off, I know like De Gea got ridiculed for that pass he made to Maguire in the Sevilla game. Two things about that. Maguire asked for the pass. Firstly, secondly, if Lisandro Martinez receives that pass, he plays the ball forward. He doesn't lose position. Oh my God, is that guy something on the ball?
Yeah, he's very good. That's what I mean. He's a very good
Awesome.
player.
He's not just very good. He's awesome on the ball.
But you can see he's played midfield a lot.
He is a midfielder.
Was a midfielder. I don't think you can call him that anymore. He's definitely settled in as a centre back.
No, but you can see sometimes he still has that.
But he's not.
You,
Like,
you can always
like
tell someone who like. No, he's not like your normal centre backs these days who are just midfielders playing in defense. He's a defender now, but
yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but sometimes you can see that he plays like a midfielder still.
I agree. But he's not like Joel Matip, where he's great on the ball, but when he has to defend, you just go, you hiding behind your hands every time he actually has to defend. But like, yeah, he's definitely he's got the defensive know-how as well, which makes considering the amount of ridicule he took early on, he's shown how a player can turn it around. Which Harry Maguire should be looking at.
Still there is a certain section that just ends up saying he's too short.
Oh, that really annoys me when people say that. I read that on sites all the time about players when they say, when they're linked to a defender or anything like that, or there's a defender playing for them. Oh, he's too short, and it's like, what?
No, if you haven't watched the player, and then I think it's understandable that you're gonna be skeptical about their height, their physicality when they're moving from a lesser league to Premier League. Okay, but after 30 odd games, no, we've actually played more than 50 games. I would think because of all the competitions. After about 50 odd games, you can see, even if he's not as tall as your 6'5" center striker, but he's still gonna compete with those guys.
Yeah, it's timing and leap is just as important as height anyway for heading. Especially timing. Because if you don't jump at the right time, you're going to get beaten by somebody who does. And if he's got a good leap on him, and if he's and if he's moving as well rather than standing still, a good defender times his leap and he's on the move rather than just so when he reaches it as well. It's a lot more good header of the ball, I should say.
Let's get back to Arsenal and Man City.
Sorry, yeah. So what do you think? Do you think Arsenal are done? Have they blown it completely?
I think the amount of goals they've conceded, even with Saliba, there were times when they were winning 3-2 and 4-2. Now they don't even have the defensive security. And the momentum seems to be lost a bit. I think it's Man City's title now.
I think a lot of their problem as well is that they managed to turn the neutrals against them with the way they play. A lot of the neutrals were turning on them because after watching them play their own team, hated them. But because you just can't like the way Arteta plays football. I'm sorry, I don't care what the media says. They're vile to watch. They're a horrible team to watch if you're an opposition fan. They time waste from the moment they kick off virtually. Ramsdale's an absolute arsehole, as well as a shit keeper. He's just an absolute bellend, and everything they do is just designed to time waste and to just play for a 1-0 win. It's like the old George Graham days again. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that doesn't help because you don't have the same. How can I say? Unless you're a type of person where you love to prove people wrong. They were kind of like everybody's, they were like the big shock, and it was like everyone was loving it at first in the early part of the season, and so they had that driving them on, I think. Do you understand what I mean? I think that helped them.
Yeah.
Because they'd be going
After
on after a game, they'd go on the internet and see that it must help, it must build their confidence. And then by the end of the season, now at this point of the season, they're going on the internet. Everyone's going fucking wankers. I'm glad they lost. You know what I mean? After the way they played against us, assholes. That must affect you mentally.
just simply put, the momentum is lost. Their good vibes is lost. They were like it was mostly vibes around. Wasn't the score yet, I think.
You've
Lost
broken
the
up, mate.
intangibles and
You've gone.
I think they've lost the intangibles. They were playing on vibes and emotion, and I think once it's lost, it's basically over for them.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, like as well. You've worded it better than I did. Emotion.
And sadly, City are most likely gonna win yet another league.
They're a machine, aren't they? They've got two. I mean, their squad's so good. The fact that they're only on 73 points is the shocking thing, really. For City, it's probably, is it their worst total at this point since the one where they absolutely folded a few years ago? They seem to have these down years. I can see, me personally, I know people are going to say Haaland's made the difference and he's brilliant and he's fantastic, but I think the change of tactics to this, they've gone again back to reverting to where the fullbacks come in field, where the fullback moves in field rather than providing the width.
Inverted fullback.
Yeah, inverted fullbacks, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much, inverted. And Haaland up front isn't working as well as the way they played. It doesn't suit the way they play. As good as he is and as good as as many goals he scored, it just hasn't suited their play as much as the way as other strikers would do. And I think that's why they're not as far ahead as they were. But it might be the difference between them winning the Champions League and not doing so is the scary thing. It's because they're that good. And having a goal scorer like that, see this in a cup competition in a one-off match, having a player like that can make the difference between winning or losing over a league season. You don't need these. You need a good team for an entire season, but in a one-off match, a great player, a goal scorer can just make the difference, turn up and score the goal, and that's it. It doesn't matter how good your opponent is,
Yeah, I was gonna ask the question, but you've already mostly answered it. But like you and I, we've been very vocal about our reservations about Haaland. We've been, to be very polite, we've been very critical of his overall play and all. But like you said, they didn't buy Haaland because they wanted to win another league. They bought him to finally deliver the Champions League. Should that happen for them, it's a success. Would it matter to them if they finish second in the league and win the Champions League? No, it wouldn't matter if they finish second or third in the league if Haaland they win the Champions League, right?
That's it. That's what it's about. It's winning the Champions League, and he can make the difference there, where he might not. It might cost them in the Premier League, but they won't care because it's what they're aiming for is the Champions League. That's all Pep's there to do. And that's what they brought Haaland
I think
to do.
And I think Haaland has shown signs of improvements. Basically, he has shown that he's still a coachable player. He's slowly improved his overall game. I was listening to Thierry Henry make this comment. Like, as a striker, you should also learn about your teammates' strengths and weaknesses. Slowly, Haaland seems to be learning that as well. Like, he doesn't expect everyone to be able to pass the ball the way De Bruyne does because nobody else does.
Yeah. When you got De Bruyne feeding you, It's
No,
huge, isn't
no,
it?
it may be my bias and it may be your bias or whatever, but there's only ever one other player in the league that can even hardly deliver the ball anywhere close to the way De Bruyne does. Maybe Trent
I was
in
gonna say.
certain positions, yeah,
Mm,
he can deliver the same balls, but except that there's no one in the league at least,
mm.
let alone Man City. So, and he has shown signs of like slight changes, slight improvements in his game, and frankly, it's scary if he can improve.
He should do. I mean, he's away from the guidance of the departed
Mino
agent.
Raiola.
Yeah, Mino. I mean, it was always about money with Mino, so maybe he's got to listening to different advice now, and that might help him as well. I think, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead or anything like that, but Raiola's an agent, and he was there to make the money, and that's what
I
he
think
did brilliantly.
I think
But he wasn't.
one
He
thing
was
that
always about the money only, and I don't think that's what a player at his stage of his career needs to be thinking about, really. And I think that's
yeah,
maybe
but
the difference.
I think one slight issue that is always I think possibly always gonna be with Haaland is he seems to want to score the goals a bit like
Yeah.
Cristiano. He doesn't
Yes.
seem happy to win the trophies and win matches and win trophies if he is not scoring the goals. And
Oh,
that probably always is gonna drop his overall game.
he is very much Cristiano Ronaldo. He bases everything on Cristiano Ronaldo. He does his training, his whole eating regime, everything. He's tried to copy him. He's tried to learn from him. So yeah, that's an excellent observation. Actually, while we're on the subject, should we quickly just jump onto
Yeah, okay.
CR7 quickly? Because I don't. You obviously didn't know about this, so because I asked you, should we discuss this? Well, I think we should. The owner of Al Nazir, who signed him in Saudi Arabia, said he's only been scammed twice in his lifetime. Once when he bought, I think it was 3 kebabs and only 2 turned up, and the other time was when he signed Cristiano Ronaldo. And basically, I mean, at one point they've threatened to deport him from the country because apparently what happened was fans with Lionel Messi fans, your favourite, obviously, Seamus. I know you love Lionel Messi fans. They were all chanting Lionel Messi's name at him in a game, and he started touching his privates and doing hip thrusts or something at them. So they wanted him deported from the country. Not the fans. I mean, the Saudi Al Nazir did. This is the club themselves, and basically he's just not. He's not fitted in at all. They're not happy with him in the slightest. They think he's terrible, and they're really disappointed with him. He's hated there basically. So
Okay, like obviously not watched the game. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you've not watched the game either.
yeah, no.
But from the highlights, he doesn't look any different from Cristiano Ronaldo. Come on,
No, but like I
you
think
should you should you
they
should know what you're getting. When you're buying Cristiano Ronaldo, you can't be surprised with how
when he
like
turns up and he's
you can't be
Cristiano
surprised with
Ronaldo.
his ego. You can't be surprised with his reaction to the Messi chance and all. Come on,
I know
you
it's.
already know that's gonna happen.
I've got to say I don't understand what the issue is. They must have known what they were getting into, but clearly they've obviously expected him to come in and be a leader in the dressing room, and instead he's just been Cristiano Ronaldo. It's like, oh, well, what's the issue?
What for the first time? Oh no! For the first time in his career for a long while, he actually showed some kind of like how do you call it?
Reaction,
He basically
passion.
showed he's a team player. He allows someone else to take a penalty after I don't know what 5, 7, 10 years,
Wow.
and that
See,
too because Anderson Talisca was the player had a chance of catching the top scorer in the league. He was in a battle with someone else. And Ronaldo allowed someone else to take a penalty. Imagine how hard it must have been for Mr. Ronaldo.
Jeez, things must be going bad there for him to do that, because otherwise, he'd have been too arrogant to let him take it, wouldn't he? He'd have just said, "Well, that's your problem." Like,
Well, the last time I can remember him allowing someone else to take the penalty was Benzema, I guess. I guess Benzema, when Benzema was having a horrendous time.
That's right. Yeah, I remember he was really struggling, wasn't he, for goals, and then he scored that and went on that run afterwards of playing brilliantly.
And if he did do something similar at Man United, then forgive me for not remembering it, because
I don't remember him doing it.
yeah.
No, I really can't see it. But yeah, it's just one of those most bizarre things. They think he's saying he's been, but it's like it's literally the Al Nazir are coming out and saying these things. It's not like it's media saying them. It's Al Nazir. It was a lawyer for the club wanting him deported and stuff. Clearly they're looking at how much they paid for him and thought, well, this is a fucking waste of money, isn't it? Yeah.
We're paying him, what, 400 million, 500 million? I don't know how many millions it is to finish second in the league
Yeah.
in a 2-horse race.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't even be a 2-horse race when you've got Cristiano Ronaldo playing for you, though, should it, in Saudi Arabia? Let's be honest. Yeah. So, but I just think it's funny the way his career's ended up. He's gone he's gone almost full circle, because he was ridiculed when he first went to England. Do you remember back then, or was that before you?
That wasn't before me, but I guess. Okay, like full. If you really want the timeline, 2006 is the first time I found out about Cristiano Ronaldo, and before that, Manchester United were hardly on my radar either. I was too young. I'm not saying I changed Ronaldo, okay? I'm just saying too young. Yeah. 2006 World Cup is the first proper football memory that I have.
Because when he first came to England, he was ridiculed. He was just a show pony. He did too many steps. I know,
like
and all that. Yeah. And now
I've gone back in time, and I know that most of those comments about it.
But he's turned it around once, but I think it's too late to do it again, isn't it?
And why should he turn it around anyways?
At his age,
there is not much motivation for it now, surely.
I don't know, 400 million's a lot of motivation, I would say. But I suppose when you're already, he's the second highest paid athlete in the world last year, in 2022. I mean, he doesn't really need the money, does he?
I would have said no, but then if he didn't need the money, then why would he join the Qatar League either?
Well, it's not listen,
for you and me.
When you're at that
listen, for you and me. Now, for you and me, if you have the amount of money that Cristiano has, or the amount of money that Messi has, you would say, like, for Messi, you would say, why, if Barca can't afford to pay you that obscene amount, then just play for them for free, right? But he didn't. He went after chasing money. Same with Ronaldo. If you really want to play in the Champions League, if you really want to live in Europe and still continue your journey, for example, go back to Sporting and play for free. Surely they would take you.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing random names.
The problem is
that doesn't work like that.
Yeah, when you've got that kind of money, you want more. It's like a drug. It's addictive, and you want more and more and more. It's, each time you get one, you want another one. Like whatever it is you buy, you want more of. And better. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I guess if you start earning 1 million, you don't want 2 million. You probably want 5 or 10, 20, 30, or even more millions.
You just keep wanting more and more. It's hard to know when to. It's a difficult thing to say. Hang on, I should just be content with what I got. It's very difficult because the world's not made to. The world isn't. We're constantly bombarded with things that tell you it's all about the money. From music to TV, everything is always about getting more. So, we're not. It's understandable, but like in his position, surely you just say, I can't keep doing this anymore. I'm clearly, well, I've not got it anymore. Surely it's time. Yes, I'm still fit and healthy, but I'm not able to play at the level I was. Maybe it's time to say, okay, that's it. Time to walk away while I'm still a legend, before I ruin my whole legacy, like.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. I think he should have realized the moment he said, "Oh, I want to end up at top. I don't want to face my career in a retirement league and whatever." He should have known this was gonna happen to him.
Hmm. Yeah, what?
That is why you should never make those sort of comments publicly, at least.
No, you just don't say. I mean, you're better off saying nothing. Sometimes you should just say, I'm gonna look at the options and see what's gonna, see what I get offered and pick from them or something like that. You don't need to say that. But players just want to. I don't know. I don't understand it. It's like they make these statements. They're always going to come back and bite you on the arse. I mean, Jack Butland, I won't go to Man United to be I wouldn't go anywhere to be a number 2. When somebody asked him specifically if he was going to go to Man United to be their backup goalkeeper to De Gea a few years ago, and he put that on Twitter as his, and like obviously what did he do this summer? Went to Man United to be a number
Not
2.
summer, in January.
January,
No,
sorry, January.
number 3. He went to be number 3.
Oh, 3. Yes, you're right. Sorry, yeah. Exactly, he wouldn't go anywhere to be a backup, but he's been a backup for years because he's shit. Well, anyway, we should actually discuss that before we do it. I think that's probably the last on the agenda now is the Man United sale.
I don't know what's gonna happen, man. It's the more time passes, the more like unclear it becomes. You would think like with more time passes, it becomes clearer and clearer. No, I don't know what the hell Glazers are up to. If you want to sell, go through with it. If you don't want to sell, then why the hell did you indulge in all these processes? Bloody idiots.
I've got to be honest.
Money
Personally,
sucking.
I think the problem is people are thinking the Glazers are a united group of people who have made a decision together and know what they're about. I think personally there's 4 or 5 of them, is it?
I
I
think
can't
it's
remember.
5, right?
I can't remember, 4 or 5, I can't remember. And I don't think that between them they actually know what they want to do. I think they're arguing about. I think that's where the problem lies, is that they can't make up their mind between them. Is that like one wants to do this, another one's swayed to agree with them, but the other 3 are against them, or 2, whatever. And then it changes as they get the offers in, and then they have a look at them, and then somebody else whispers in the ear of one, and it changes. And it's. I just don't think it's a united, this is what we want to do, and that's where the problem lies, is they don't know themselves, because they're still arguing about it between themselves. So, but anyway, the choice seems to have come down to mostly 2, according to all the media, though I'm sure there's probably a few we don't know about in the running. There's bound to be 1 or 2 other options, isn't there? So you've got, but the main options seem to be either the sports washing Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, I can't remember if it's Thani or Thani, or the sports washing group, Ineos group of Jim Ratcliffe. So it's like both dirty as hell. One's they're. In fact, I'm not actually sure which is worse. Do you know what? Ineos are one of the most disgusting companies in the world. They destroy the environment. They've paid. No, I shouldn't get into. I won't get into some of the stuff they've done because they do. Let's put it this way: they're not better than the Qataris
Let's
in
just
any
say,
way, shape, or form. They're both
no.
sports
Let's just say
washing.
that Ineos are no group of
Oh,
saints either.
yeah, they're basically both of them are sports washing. Do you know what I've got to ask? This is one thing that's always bugged me though. Is has there ever been a case of an owner buying a football club in in my lifetime, at least that I can remember, has there ever been any of them that haven't been doing a degree of sports washing? They're always, even when they're local businessmen, they depend to be, they got their money normally. They're normally a bit dodgy. They're normally people who, they're not the nicest people. They never are, and they tend to be a bit. They're doing it to get because they just want to be, they just want a bit of cachet from owning a football club. They're not doing it because they love the club really. Let's be honest. I mean, can you name one off the top of your head? Can you name one club owner that's doing it purely out of altruism? Maybe Steve Gibson at Middlesbrough. Maybe. You seen Rob's in. Rob's listening now, eh, Seamus? Hey.
No.
Oh, Rob's in the chat now, mate. You're gonna have to up your game now. Rob's in to hear you.
What? On YouTube?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, come on.
are you excited now? So Seamus has gone all giggly now. That's it. I'm afraid I'll have to apologise. Now Rob's in. He might go all giggly and not talk a lot. I'm afraid he's gonna go into his shell.
I No, if we're gonna get back to the topic, come on, we have to try and finish this on time. You might have gotten your evening nap, but I'm sleepy as hell. I think
It's old age.
I think Radcliffe's build is. I think it's two ways. He's either gonna buy the whole of the Glazer family out, or buy the ones that want out and be happy to share the ownership of club with the ones that want it. The ones that want Joel and Abram, I think they seem to be the only two people that would even be able to name the players. Okay, that's the kind of owners Glazer family is. I wouldn't be surprised if none of the other three even knew the name of the stadium, for example. Because I don't know their names, for instance. I know Joel and Abram. I don't know the other three or two or. I'm not sure if it's two or three, and I don't know what their names are, let alone how they look like and what kind of people they are or whatever.
Yeah, well, Joel and Avram were the ones that were actually behind the takeover in the first place. So they'll be the ones, if anyone, they'll be the ones that I would have expected to want to hold on to it, if anyone.
Yeah, apparently they would rather stick around. They don't want a wholesale of the club. Or they don't want to sell their part, ideally. And I don't think that's the solution for the club.
No, I can't see. The Ratcliffe bid's just a nonsense, if you ask me. Not as bad as that other guy, the Finnish guy, who was he's just clearly a.
He just wanted to be famous.
Yeah, but that's how Ratcliffe. I just think Ratcliffe's doing the same thing. A lot of it. He seems to be full of it, just talking, getting his face in the media. He's a bit of a Richard Branson, and he's just a media whore.
No, but at least with Ratcliffe, he has at least shown some kind of. Even if it is considered unacceptable by Glazers, he at least put up some kind of money. That Finnish fella is like, yeah, he was just talking pie in the sky stuff, man. Come on, let's not get into it.
Oh, he was just.
It's never gonna happen.
I couldn't believe he hit out at the Glazers. For at least they've actually made it work. Gone in and took over the club. They didn't talk about it in the media and all that. They didn't hold themselves out to they just got in and got their, bought the club. Like, not in the way any of us would like to, but at least they showed they knew what they were doing, even if it wasn't the way any of us would conceive of doing something like that. It is a nasty, underhanded way to buy someone, using somebody else's money in that. But it's what that Viliakis did was just. I mean, it's got people voting on it and stuff. I mean, come on. No.
Maybe he can buy Liverpool instead. if he really has 3 billion or however much
Oof,
amount
please God
he
no.
bid
I'd
for
hate him.
us, if he really has that, maybe he can buy into part of FSG then.
I mean, he could easily buy into it, and he could have easily just put in a bid for a section of the club. I don't understand. Yeah, if he was if he's deadly actually serious, he could have still put in a bid for part of the club instead of messing around. He's clearly just a joke. So I think we can basically just rule him out of ever coming into the Premier League. But he'll be involved in every single, I reckon, for the rest of the time. And you'll see his name linked. He'll get himself in the papers saying he's got to put him forward a bid for them. Well, out of the two, who would you want to own them? Who would you want to take over?
I don't know. I don't. If I'm being honest, I'm at a point where I don't care which one of them ends up owning the club. Like you said, I don't see one party as being better than the other. But apparently, the Qataris have planned for redevelopment of the training ground and stadium and all those things. So, probably the Qatar group, probably.
Well, if it's Ratcliffe, you're still going to have the Glazers.
Oh,
They're
I
not,
know.
so it's only going to be a part
Let's not,
ownership,
let's
and the
not,
Glazers will
let's
have
not more.
bigger voting
Yeah,
rights.
that's
So you've got to surely, if you're just looking at it as in like what the bids, surely for a fan, as in if you forget all, because like I said, whoever buys them, they none of them are going to be good people. The Glazers aren't a nice bunch. They're not like they're a nice friendly family or anything. They bought you, so. It doesn't matter who owns the club, and I think it's the same. You could go to every single ownership, and like I was saying, they've all been there some degree of sports watch. Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos group, you look at their record, and they're not a nice bunch either. So it's not like it's a choice between one side, the dark side and the light side. Like you've got a choice between two arseholes. It's which one do you want to shit on you, basically. That's what you're choosing between at the end of the day. So, and I don't think as a fan, it's like you've got no real say in it, as has been shown. They've been how long have they been protesting against the Glazers, and they're still bloody there. And you don't look to be any closer to getting rid of them. So
how long have they been at the club? However long they've been at the club, we've been like the fan
exactly,
base has been protesting from day one.
hmm. And it's not helped. It's not done anything to get rid of them. It's not made a blind bit of difference, and it won't do either, because it just doesn't affect these ownership. So yeah, you're gonna get stuck with somebody, so it's just a case of who you get stuck with, and yeah, you don't want either of them really, do you? But you're gonna end up. Well, I think you're gonna end up with one of them. I think it's gonna go through. Like I said though, I think the problem is that you've got 4 or 5 people, however many there is. I really should have it. I had it written down, but I can't find where I wrote it down. Just because I was thinking this earlier, and I quickly wrote it down. When I was doing that, but I've written it down somewhere other than on the paper. I'm actually using. Yeah, yeah. You've got them, and they'll be. Do you know what? Do you know what they always? I'm tempted. Do you know the thing I'm thinking of is that program? What's it? Succession? Is it? Where they? Have you ever seen it? The old guy. Um,
Yeah,
Brian
the father is
Brian
about to
Cox.
die,
Yeah, he's
and then all of his
ill.
children and
Uh,
associates and whatever. And
yeah,
again,
the three
I've not watched
kids.
a minute. I've not watched a minute of the show. Again, it comes back to Family Guy parody.
Yeah, they're just all arguing. Basically, they're fighting over. I've not watched it all, but I've watched some of it. And basically, you've got the three kids fighting over control of the company for when the dad dies, and the dad's just basically sitting, still there, like. And but they're basically you've got three of them, and they're fighting each other as well as they're backstabbing each other all the time, changing their mind, changing allegiances and all that, like. And that's exactly how I see the Glazers. That I just don't think they're a united group at all. I know people think they are. I think you've got Joel and Avram, who are pretty much on the same page, and they're being. I think they want to keep the club. I think they're looking to stay. They're the ones that don't want to keep the club, but will take them. But that realise that the others don't, and they're probably going to be outvoted and be forced to sell. But I think that's the issue. Is you've got the only two that are actually united are United in wanting to keep the club, and that's where you've got your problem. Which is why you might end up with Ratcliffe, and if Ratcliffe's in charge, judging by how he's done with Lausanne and the cycling team, I've forgotten what they're called.
Ineos Grenadiers. If he's cycling, you can ask me.
Yeah, what was it? Who is it he owns?
Ineos Grenadiers.
Oh, Grenadiers, that's it. Stupid name for a cycling team. But yeah,
they've been like taken. How do we say?
So yeah, they're not doing well though, are they?
Yeah, they've been taken over. No, they've been taken over by Jumbo Visma, UAE Emirates.
Oh, so they've been bought out.
They're no longer.
Oh God.
Sorry.
So because he owns Nice and Lausanne in football, doesn't he?
Yeah. Nice were decent for a season or two under Fabre. Again, they were decent under Gaultier, but since Ratcliffe has been the owner of Nice, PSG have lost out on the league title, but it's never been to Nice.
And they've looked to be going backwards and getting worse under him, and Lausanne's the same. He just doesn't seem to know. He doesn't seem to have any foot. And I know Ed too likes him, but for me, I don't like him at all.
No, he might be a likable guy. He might even be smart enough. Just strictly talking about football, he might be smart enough about football as well. But he doesn't seem to be a hands-on owner. And apparently, the people he trusts are people he already knows. I think he brought someone in from. Yeah, he brought one of the managing director or whatever. Some director role from cycling team to the Nice director of football role, I think, or something like that. And I'm not sure a guy who made his name running a cycling team is gonna be a success in running a football club as well. They are completely two different entities, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's a totally different sport. I mean, for starters, you can't. Well, I suppose maybe you can get away with the drugs in football as easily, but it's not going to make as much of a difference because it's a individual sport in team rather than. You know, I know it's a team sport. I know you're going to tell me it's a team.
No.
But what I mean is, it's not the same team.
Listen,
is it?
I think the thing is, cycling is an individual sport in a team environment.
Yes,
football is a team sport in an individual environment.
That's exactly what I was. The words I was trying to say, but I couldn't get them out. You know, when your mind just scrambles in that way. That is absolutely exactly the phrase I was trying to use. Yeah, it's a totally different setup. You can bring over people from sports like basketball, ice hockey, rugby, the boat codes, you know, things like that, because they're team sports and a lot of the things do work together. If you see what I mean, there's a lot of crossover between the sports. You can take pieces from rugby, you can take plays from basketball and things like that, as has been shown. I mean, look at the pick and roll that's become a common theme in defending corners and other set pieces. That's come from basketball. That isn't something that the coaches have come up with from nowhere. That's something that's come from basketball. You know, that's arrived in football from there. And there's other things. You know, you can take things from other sports, but it's difficult to take it from an individual sport like cycling. I mean, that's so different. It doesn't make sense to have them cross over. Maybe at the business end, maybe you can do it because you're not involved in the football side of it. But if you're involved in the sporting side, it's too different. it doesn't make sense at all to entrust someone like that in it. Yeah, I can't see. So if it doesn't go through, obviously we know there's going to be massive protests, but nothing will change really. But if it does go through and Jim Ratcliffe does buy it, and you've got the Glazers still there, do you think there'll still be protests, or do you think people will sit back and say, well, we'll see how it goes first?
I think the fact that Jim Ratcliffe is apparently a Manchester United supporter buys him some
Even,
kind of.
even though he's a Chelsea season ticket holder.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like last season when Chelsea were up for sale, I was reading over on their page that oh, he's a season ticket holder. Oh, he's one of us. Now Manchester United is for sale, and now he's a United supporter and he's one of us. I
Yeah,
don't know which one is true. Maybe he likes living in London,
yeah,
and
but
that's why.
he's the richest man in Britain. He can afford to fly up to fly to any game he wants to. He's got the choice, the money, and the means, the time, everything that could possibly need to go to watch any team in the world that he wants to watch and have a season ticket anywhere in the world he wants. And he's chosen to have it at Chelsea, but he claims to be a Man United supporter. I just don't follow. It just doesn't follow for me. You're not a supporter if you've chosen to have your season ticket elsewhere. If you can afford to have if you can afford to go along and watch your team, you go and watch your team. It's not an option, is it? It's never up for discussion. If you can watch your team, if you're a fan of a club, you go and watch your team. It's not a. It's just you're not a fan. It's as simple as
It's
that. He's not a
bizarre.
fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I think that still buys him some sway with certain section of the fans. The
Hmm.
fact that apparently he's one of our own. I don't know how it is.
I think he'll give himself a. I think he'll give himself a bit of breathing room to see how he does. But because obviously he's come out with the right sound bite, say he's going to put the Manchester back into United and all that shite. But let's be honest, if it doesn't go well
Yeah,
immediately,
but that's more of a political campaign.
yeah,
Come on,
that's what it feels like. It's exactly what it feels like.
you're not running for mayor, buddy. You just show the money. You put your money where your mouth is and just get it either done with or get lost. I would say. I think I think it's gonna go pear shaped if some glitches stay up and he basically gets in bed with the glitches because no, but more importantly, if let's say two of the glitches remain and Radcliffe buys into the remaining ones, do the owners still take dividends? That's the thing with glitches. Do they still take dividends or not?
Oh yeah, now you got a question there. You would assume that that would be part of the thing, wouldn't you? Know, part of the deal is if they're staying on, but I suppose it depends on if the company makes profits as well. Uh, and how much. Hmm. Yeah, you'd assume that they'd. I mean, they're not going to leave if they're not going to stay. If they're not going to take the dividends, are they? They'll want their divvies because that's what they bought the club for, is to make money. That's why they want to keep it. But having said that, I think Joel and Avram might actually what what
Oh come
might
on,
actually. I'm
we'll
not.
just gone through this beforehand.
I
If
you
you
know.
got a lot of money, you're not gonna say no to even more money. Come on.
No, I agree with you. But what I mean is, I do think they might be the ones that would want to stick. I think they actually do have a genuinely developed an affection for the club. I don't think you can own a football club without that, for a period of time they have, without developing some kind of affection, because they go regularly. It's not like they don't turn up for games like like the others. They do quite regularly go, so I think they must have some kind of effect. Surely they must have developed some affection, even if the fans hate them and that. Like they must have got in there a little bit, mustn't it? I mean, it's not going to be the same way that like Wrexham's obviously, with the Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have got themselves,
Oh, good,
got the whole
good on
community
you.
behind them. They've not
Oh,
managed.
good on you, man. You remembered his name.
Yeah, I know.
It's Ryan Reynolds and friends.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what everyone else says, isn't it?
Deadpool and his buddy. It's Deadpool and his buddy. Come on. You might be the only. Hang on a minute. You didn't Google check it, did you?
No, I didn't need to Google check it. I've seen it. I read it a minute ago. So, well, not a minute ago. Just before we started, I read something on it.
Oh, come on.
Because the next season of Welcome to Wrexham's coming out soon. So I just read an ad. There was just an advert for it, and it said his name. That's the bit that always bothers me, is pronouncing it. It's like you're looking at it, and I'm still not sure I pronounced it right. Like it's not like.
Oh, come on. It's Deadpool. Deadpool and his mate. Nobody knows. No. I know it's very harsh to say it about him, but I don't know who he is. I only know he's friends with
Alright, well, I knew him from
Reynolds.
what was it, Mythic Quest. I'd seen a few episodes of that. That's all I knew him from. I've never heard of it. What's that Philadelphia thing he does? I've never heard of that before till like that was it. I'd seen a couple of episodes of Mythic Quest, and that was how I knew
I am
who he
aware.
was.
I am aware of this thing. Like it's always sunny in
That's
Philadelphia,
it,
but
Always Sunny.
I don't know him. I don't know him.
I've never seen it. I'd never even heard of it until they got linked to Wrexham. And when it started coming out, and you just think, what? Of all the people, I wasn't really expecting. But I'm Wrexham. How Wrexham?
Oh, they're promoted to League Two, right?
Yeah. See,
Wrexham.
if you're someone like the Glazers, you must be looking at them and thinking, shit. For the way it's worked for them. I mean, the publicity and that they've got. And people are saying they've lost 4 million, but I bet that show that they did for the Disney Channel, Disney Plus, like the Welcome to Wrexham, I bet that brought in more than the 4 million they've spent already. And I bet the publicity they've gained from this alone, and the exposure they've gained worldwide. Forget what's done for Wrexham, but for them two personally, I think they've probably more than made their money back already. And don't begrudge them it in the slightest, because good luck to them. It's great to see them actually going in at the lower, at that level and trying to make a difference. Like, but
anyways, back to Glazers and Qatari.
yeah, but if you're like Al-Thani or Ratcliffe, that must be the kind of thing you're looking to get from Bayern Manchester United, mustn't it? That kind of exposure that those two have managed to get through Wrexham, and you're not going to get it.
Nobody before the whole bidding process, nobody knew that guy even existed. The Qatari guys, Sheikh, whatever, Al-Thani. Now, at least people know Sheikh Jassim Al-Thani.
That's true. That's a good point. He has got a planet. He has. Suddenly, everyone knows who he is in this country. All of a sudden, yeah.
And next time, let's say he doesn't succeed with this bid. Next time he goes in with a bid for another football club, he possibly is gonna get it just because he was a prospective owner for us.
Yeah, and people will know him. Whether he's got the money.
Yeah, like people will know, like he's a genuine guy. He's got a lot of money. If nothing else, it's just gonna give him more leverage next time he goes into this process with someone else.
That's true. Yeah, he's certainly not done him any harm, and it certainly doesn't seem to have done Ratcliffe any harm either. He's constantly.
That guy is indestructible. He is indestructible.
I don't
People
understand.
should have already people should have already known from his
I
Chelsea beat from his Chelsea beat that there is some kind of insincerity with his
yeah.
approaches, but
Yeah, there's something odd with that. Yeah, the way he went in with that Chelsea bid just happened to be well after it, after it was too late to buy it. But he knew it was.
but
He
not
knew when the time.
not late enough to not make the news. He was
Exactly.
like correct timing.
Yeah,
You get
he's.
the headline, but you don't have to put your money where your mouth is.
And it does feel like this bid is. He's definitely under. He's definitely trying to bid lower than the other guy on purpose. It does feel that way, doesn't it? Oh, maybe it's just me. I just get the impression he doesn't actually want to pay that kind of. He said, I mean, he's come out publicly and said it's cost too much to buy a Premier League club. So I suppose that's not really a surprise, is it? That it feels like he's deliberately underbidding. I don't know. Maybe he isn't. Maybe I'm wrong, and it'll turn out that he's actually going to end up being your part owner next week or whenever
Who
next
knows?
season. I mean, sorry, next week. We can now. That'd be quick. See, that's the other thing is people think these things take happen in hours, like because they wrongly believe that City was bought within a few hours when they UAE bought, the Abu Dhabi lot bought it, but they don't realise that Robinho was bought and they didn't even own the club at that point. They were still in the middle of that was a good faith payment made when they bought Robinho, and they hadn't even bought it by the January window. The sale hadn't even gone through by the January window. So it takes months.
Yeah, it's
So,
gonna take some time,
so I'm not even
and
expecting it
the
to
longer
come
it takes, like
this
yeah, the
summer.
longer it takes, the harder it becomes for the summer transfer window.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because I don't think it's going to be done in time. I don't see it being completed. Even they're the only ones, and there's just dotting the i's and crossing the t's. I nearly said crossing the i's and dotting the t's then. you know. Yeah, even if that's all that's left, I just can't see it being done in time for this summer window. So that could
Yeah,
make
like
things difficult.
it could handicap the whole club. You never know. Maybe the current owners don't want to spend any more money when the whole process is going through. Maybe the new owner doesn't want to make the good faith payment like it happened with City.
Well, you can't.
Maybe let's say if Glazers are still around as owners, maybe they don't want to sanction a move for a Harry Kane or Jude Bellingham. I'm not saying those players will come to us, but those expensive buys. And maybe the new owners would have been willing to sanction the finances for them. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be all these
This could
steps
be the
forward
case.
you've taken under Ten Hag could be completely wiped out in the summer by just standing still and letting everybody else go past you. Because
But surely
Newcastle
we're
aren't
gonna
going
buy
to
a
be standing
striker.
still. Well, you'd think so, but this summer you might not be able to. If you're in the middle of a takeover, you can only
Yeah,
do
that's my worry. That's my
normal
worry.
business. You can only, you're limited in what business you can do because the finances are tied up at a club. You might not actually be able to do much at all. You might only be able to do small moves. Depends on what the cash reserves are like at the club, I would assume. That's how it would
And
usually work.
apparently the cash reserves aren't great because if there was cash, they
Exactly,
would have taken the dividends.
exactly. So you would expect there not to be. This could be a backward step then for United in the short term to potentially go forward again, but by then it could be too late. You could be too far behind Newcastle, City, potentially, possibly Arsenal, but I can't see them maintaining it because I think I can't see Arteta maintain. Maybe he will. Maybe I'll be proven wrong on him, but I just think I think he'll drive away some more players in the summer. and they'll end up back in the same, back where they were before one of the clubs get their act together. Like, though, Chelsea, I mean, I can't see them fixing what's wrong there in the summer, can you?
Oh,
Certainly
you
not.
never know. They've got enough players.
It's not the
You never know.
transfer
Maybe they.
market they need to fix it, is it? Let's be
No, I'm
honest.
saying like even right now, they've got enough players. Maybe they just stumble into something by just chance. Luck.
They need to
You never
clear
know.
out first before they start buying again. They need to sell a lot of players. It's quite a lot. I mean, Liverpool need to clear out as well. Newcastle need to clear out because they've got.
And Liverpool need a new midfield, but apparently it's not gonna be Bellingham.
We'll see.
Yeah, Paul just said it, right? That's his name, right?
Paul Joyce, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one who
never
said
been
it. And then
wrong.
everybody else said it as well because he said it. It just came from the club. That means is all it means. But that doesn't mean anything because he also said that Van Dijk wasn't happening, Alisson wasn't happening. In fact, you can write a long
Kane
list of
wasn't
basically almost
happening.
every player we've signed in the last.
Thiago wasn't
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. You just basically write a list of the players we've signed in the last few years, and he's come out and said none of them were happening before they did. So yeah.
No, but this time I think it's not gonna happen with Bellingham because, like I said it before and as well, Bellingham's becomes so much expensive that you only sign him if he's the cherry on the top of the icing.
Whereas I don't think he has become that expensive because his contract will have 2 years left and he's not going to sign a new one.
Yeah, but there is Real Madrid that's gonna offer 100 million.
But it doesn't matter
And
if
then
he's not
how?
willing if he's not looking to join Real Madrid because Real Madrid have got
Yeah, but
the midfield they've
but
got.
but at the same time, Dortmund can say, look, they're offering us 100 million. They're a good club.
Yeah.
Liverpool is not offering us enough money. Why should we accept
Well,
Real
yeah, I
Madrid?
can
Why
understand
should we accept less money?
But I just say, as I said, I think the most likely is that he stays another season, and he's only got a year left, and Dortmund either take what they can get, or that he runs down his contract and leaves on a free.
But I don't think he's that kind of a personality. That's the thing. I think he's a sound lad who wouldn't want to talk
Yeah,
dirty.
but yes, but Dortmund, you've got to remember, Dortmund, when they sign players like that, it is with the promise that, like, if the club of their dreams comes in for them, they'll try their best to make it happen that they move to them.
Look, the thing is, Jude may even be a Liverpool supporter, but there is a difference between I'm only ever going to sign for Liverpool and I would prefer to sign for Liverpool. Those are two different things.
Yes, but
Maybe he
what I'm
thinks
saying is when you're
no,
someone like Dortmund,
no. My point
if
is,
you
listen. My
don't
point
make it
is,
happen, you're
no, but my
making it
point
difficult
is
to sign
maybe
other players like him.
yeah. My point is maybe if he had a choice between Liverpool and Real Madrid, he would choose Liverpool, even let's say for slightly lesser money or different things. But if it comes down to like stick around at Dortmund for one more year, or go to Real Madrid, or go to Man City, or whichever club, maybe he thinks like I've done enough at Dortmund. I want to take the next step in my career. They're a good team. They're a good project. Maybe someone else can also sell their project to him. Is all I'm trying to say.
I don't think moving to City would suit him because he's just
No,
he's not a
I'm not saying
I don't
he's
think.
gonna be City or
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
Real
saying he should
Madrid
do
is
that
the
or
big.
whatever. I'm just saying like maybe some other club can sell their project to him and
I
he
just
might.
don't see Real Madrid having the inter. I know you're saying they've got the money, but they haven't. They haven't
Hey,
got the money.
you know my
They're in
view. I
trouble.
don't think
They
Real
need a
Madrid
striker.
need.
Yeah, they don't need a
I
midfielder.
said it
They
before.
need
I
forwards.
don't think they need to spend 100 million on any midfielder.
Exactly. I don't see. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Jude Bellingham's issue is going to be whether he stays at Dortmund or joins Real Madrid. I just don't think Real Madrid are going to be in for him this summer. I know the media keep saying they will be, but that's because it sells papers. Well, makes people click. I just don't see that they're going to be interested in paying the kind of money that Dortmund are asking. That's the
Yeah, that's the
question.
thing. Dortmund are asking
I think
obscene
he's
amount of money.
that's
I don't see any sense in Real Madrid going for him. I think the team that should go for him again is PSG.
mm, but they've got too many. They're trying to. They've got 100 midfielders already, and they can't get rid of them.
Yeah, but maybe they can do some kind of thing. I think that is a club that needs the player that
Mm.
should, in theory, be able to spend some kind of money on him. And I don't think they need 5 new players.
But I don't see him wanting to join PSG. Just doesn't make any sense to a player like him.
I would also say, tell him, like, if he asked me for advice, I would also tell him avoid PSA like the plague. But I'm just saying there are other teams as well who could come in for him, who may or may not be able to sell their project to him.
I
For
just
example, Real Madrid, I am completely of the opinion that the club doesn't need him and he doesn't need to go there right now either.
Yeah, I just think it's an. I think he's in a position where there's not. That's what I'm saying is I don't think there's option between going to say Real Madrid or staying at Dortmund. I think the option is staying at Dortmund or going somewhere that doesn't work for him. That's what I'm saying is there just isn't the options around that look suited, and I think he's looking at it and going maybe the best thing for my career is even if we don't win if we win the Bundesliga this year, we're looking at I stay for a year and we go after see if we can have a tilt at the Champions League as well. Make it really make myself a legend here, like sort of thing. Make really go for it because they'll hold the team together if they win the Bundesliga, or stay in another year if we fail to win the Bundesliga, trying to win the Bundesliga before I go. But I just don't see there's an option of going elsewhere. If you see what I mean, I just don't see it. Real Madrid is the real. I can understand if that was the draw, if that was the option. I can understand what you're saying, but I just don't see them as an option for him. I mean, why would he? They've already got too many midfielders. They desperately need a striker. The La Liga salary cap means that they're not in a position to go out and splash 100 million on a player without selling first, and they don't really have anybody to sell, do they? I mean, who can they sell to? But if they were
They don't
buying,
need this. They don't.
they've got the
They
yeah.
don't
That's what I'm
need.
saying. They've
No,
got a
no.
squad
Let
that's
me
a good
finish.
squad.
Let me
Well, I
finish.
haven't finished
They
my
don't
point.
need to sit. Okay, okay, you
Sorry.
finish.
I was just saying they're at a point where they've got a squad that's a right. They've got a well balanced squad. They just need to top it off with a replacement, long-term replacement for Benzema. Really, is what they need. Rather than the midfield's already built and they've got extra in there, if anything. But they don't have anyone spare to offload to raise the 100 million. So I mean, so do you agree on that at least?
No, I don't think they need to raise 100 million. The issue for them is they've got too many players earning a lot of money, but not actually earning by their performance, right? They've got too many players that are on high salaries that don't
Mm,
warrant us placing the squad later on first 11. I'm thinking about the likes of Hazard,
yeah,
the
yeah,
likes of what's his name?
yeah. Once
Asensio.
they
I know
can't
he had a
sell,
decent. Yeah,
basically.
but the issue is if they could sell them for even like minimal amounts, like 5, 10, 20 million, and get their salaries off the book, it would be a decent chunk of money saved, right? The issue is they can't sell them.
They're
And
just
if you
not.
can't
Nobody's
sell
going
those
to.
high earners, you can't bring another player on huge money, both transfer fee and wages.
Mm. Yeah, so I mean they're not in a position with the La Liga salary cap and that they need to offload players, but they've got nothing to sell to make the money to pay the 100 million to go and buy Jude Bellingham. That's the issue they've got, and I just don't see that it makes sense for them either. What they need is they need a replacement forward for Benzema for the long term. That's their main need, and defenders.
As
They're weaker
someone that
defenders,
plays on
left
the
back.
right side of attack, so that they can move Fede Valverde back into midfield.
Yeah.
They don't need
Yeah.
they don't need a central midfielder to. They don't need £100 million worth central midfielder. That's like I think we're both in agreement with that.
So
But
if
Real Madrid are a stupid club. That's the
yeah,
thing.
but they've not been like that for a while, though, have they? They've been run a lot better. That's why they're doing. You know, they're looking a bit different lately. You know, when you look at their squad, they've since the Hazard days,
But
they've stopped
but
doing
have
that.
they been? But have they been better run, or is it more a result of the whole pandemic?
I was thinking more along the lines of it's because of the salary cap forcing them to be
Yeah, but
more
the salary
frugal.
cap came because of the whole economic strain caused by pandemic. They're interconnected, I think.
Yeah, but it's
Basically, our point is, have they grown some sense, or is it just because of the restrictions? And I think seeing that it is Real Madrid, it's not going to be sense.
could be a bit of both. I just think.
Oh, come on, it's Florentino Perez. You can't expect any kind of sense from him.
Good point. Good point. No, that's fair point. I can get with that. I can understand what you're saying. But to who else? So who else is available for the? But like we're looking at it, Bellingham. Who else is available? Bayern Munich. They're not going to pay 100 million.
No.
And Dortmund are
They
not going to
probably
sell for
don't
them
need him.
And even if
No,
they
the
did,
thing is, he might be a better player than the ones they have, but they don't need to spend 100 million on their midfield. Again, we come back to the price tag. That's the issue.
exactly. So that leaves who? I mean, PSG could raise the money, but FFP.
They have a need for him, but they can't. I don't think they can sell the club to Bellingham. That's the thing.
No, I can't see why you'd want to. It'd be one of those. It'd only be a money move, and I don't think he's just doesn't come across as being all about the money, or he wouldn't have been in Dortmund in the first place. He had a chance to go to places like City in the first place when he left Birmingham. He could have been at Man City on 10 times.
On Man United as well. We pulled up almost all the tricks. We played the Sir Alex Ferguson card for him.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a retired 80-year-old person in to try and lure him, and he chose a club that's better for his career development.
And offered him far more money than Dortmund were offering. So.
Oh, definitely had to be. Barca are a no-go. Barca couldn't even register Gavi's new contract. How are they ever going to spend 100 million?
Yeah, exactly. So we forget them, I think. There's just I can't see him wanting to go there the way they're going. Yeah,
but even financially, they can't afford him. There is no point even discussing them. Same goes with Juventus.
Yeah, or anyone in Italy. I think we can rule out to anywhere outside. Basically, I think you can only look at Bayern Munich in Germany, France, PSG, only team that can afford him, and Real Madrid are the only team in Spain that can afford him, and then it's the English Premier League, basically.
Yeah, and in English Premier League, I think just strictly financially, maybe even Bournemouth could afford him. That's the power of English finances right now.
Yeah, they probably could raise the money if it had worth it, but it just wouldn't worth it. Would it? You know, for a team like them, I mean, they need other players, too many players for it to be worthwhile. Like
Newcastle should actually be doing everything in their power to try and get him.
But yeah, Newcastle would be one that. But I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure that FFP would allow them.
Yeah, but realistically, they don't need too many players in the summer now.
Yeah, but can they do it with FFP rules? Because they've spent close to the amount they were, that they had left over from the Ashley days.
I think the issue, I thought the issue with Newcastle isn't that they can't afford him. The thing is, FFP works in cycles, right? And
they don't.
Even though the club finances were very healthy under Mike Ashley, they don't actually bring in enough revenue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they they can now. They had 200 million to spare because Ashley had kept them in the black by that much in his time. But now I think they've spent that, they've used that already in their spending. So I don't think they've actually got any spare because they
Yeah,
wouldn't earn enough money.
if they had like 200 million revenue, but let's say 150 million spent, then possibly they could have, but they don't make a lot of money apparently. Not apparently, obviously they don't. It's Newcastle, nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean they've got a long way to go to catch. They've got to pump in a lot of work, into sponsorship deals that they've given from their own companies and stuff to build up to Man City level. But increase the size of the stadium to have more empty seats that they can sell to themselves, that they can claim as sold to season ticket holders to increase
Man
revenue.
City,
Man
City are increasing their stadium capacity.
I know it's already half empty, even though every single game is sold out apparently. Yet there's no fucker in it. I mean, you can see it's empty every week, and yet every week they have their stadiums listed as sold out.
Do you know the guy Mark Goldbridge?
Is he Crystal
I
Palace?
thought he was a Chelsea supporter. Turned out he's a Manchester United supporter. He runs a channel, the United Stand or whatever. That's irrelevant. He made an analogy, and it was perfect. It's like saying Pizza Hut are gonna. I don't know. It was one of the pizza. They're gonna increase the size of their box, but the pizza is the same.
No, that was Domino's put out a tweet doing that.
Oh, yeah.
That was a tweet. I mean, that's brilliant. It's true though. I mean, that is just. It is not. I mean, you're not filling your ground. Why do you need to expand it? I mean, they're not. The thing is, what they show is that it doesn't matter how much you win, how much if people don't like you, you just your fan base isn't going to grow in a few weeks. I mean, it's not going to take a decade to do it. It takes a generation. That's what.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, fan bases aren't built overnight.
Yes,
you might get success, but history takes time.
Yeah,
heritage takes time.
Because the kids that are growing up will be, a lot of them will be Man City fans around the world, but that doesn't help you because it's not going to affect your fan base in the UK. You do not build a fan base like that quickly in the UK, where people who are actually match-going fans can get to the game. I remember once my friend sent me. Lives in Abu Dhabi, works in Abu Dhabi and lives there, and he not into football at all, but he just happened to. He was out for a night one night. Ended up at the fan zone, the Man City fan zone they have for every Man City game. They have this fan zone in Abu Dhabi for it, and they were playing. I can't remember who they were playing, but he sent me pictures, and everybody was in red. There was 3 Man City shirts in the Abu Dhabi fan zone. There was just nobody there supporting Man City. It was shot. I mean, that was a few years ago, admittedly, so it might have changed a bit now. But they're just not a big club, and it's you just don't become a big club overnight. It doesn't matter what you win.
It takes time. That's the thing.
But they're not a likeable club either. That's the problem they've got, and that makes it more difficult. If you're a likeable club, I don't know who, I can't think of one, but Newcastle will have a lot more sympathy if it wasn't for the owners, who their owners are But I mean, if Newcastle start winning things, they'll have a lot more sympathy from from neutral fans than Man City ever did. Because Man City are just they're not known as a nice club in the UK. I don't know anybody that likes, that knows Man City fans and likes Man City. You know what I mean? If you're a neutral, you tend to. Man City fans are just not. They're just not a nice bunch. You ask the stewards at teams like Everton. My auntie was a steward at Everton all her life, and she detests Man City. because not because of Man City. She didn't care about the team. You know, this has always been a problem. They've always been, according to her. But and she hates Liverpool. She's a bitter. She is what they, you know, she is what when Liverpool fans talk about bitters. Our aunt is the bitterest bitter you'll ever meet. Even her kids, who are both Everton fans, could tell her she's a bitter. You know what I mean? She is as bitter, hates, detests Liverpool more than anything else. But even she says Liverpool fans fine, not a problem with them. But Man City detest them, can't stand them. They're the worst fans in the world. They're horrible. You can't. They're just a nightmare. They're all coked up. They're all looking for a fight, even though you know they're just a problem from the start to finish. They're a problem. The away fans, Man City, they're horrible. And she also, you know, travels away with Everton. You know, she used to anyway, not anymore because she's retired. Like, but she used to go with them, you know, on the supporters bus and that. You know, she'd go and help at the away grounds as well. And she says at Man City as well, Manchester is just it's the worst place to go. I mean, it's not the worst as in like the surrounding area is not the worst of all. There's like you know, there's some places, you know, that are worse to go into, especially now. She's saying, you know, what they've done is fantastic, but the people, it's the Man City fans. There's a problem with them, you know, and so that doesn't help. So you're not, you know, you don't make if you don't make friends, you know, people don't like you. It makes you struggle to build a fan base. I mean, you look at Leeds, what they won in the 70s, but because most people hate them, they're hated rather than, you know, they haven't got the massive fan base they really should have. They've got a big fan base, but they've not got the fan base they should have built at that time. Quite because so many were against them, you know. I don't know if I'm making sense now. It's like 4 a.m. here, so I'm starting to wonder if I'm making any sense at all. But
No, your ramble was just as good as Conte.
You're a bitch type. True though, I'm sure. So
No, but I like if just for a moment, I think Conte has proven that truth hurts.
yeah, I mean that context.
He got sacked for stating the truth.
I still stand by what I said though. His job is to fix those kind of problems rather than complain about them. So I can understand why they'd say, okay, you know, at the end, if you can't sort it out by the end of the season, instead of moaning in the press, keep your gob
But
shut.
by the way, we actually didn't discuss who should fill the Tottenham job. We said Pochettino is going to Chelsea, but yeah, maybe we can end on this.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about. Yeah. So
And I only brought this up just to make sure that I can say Brendan Rodgers also lost his job.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We forgot that one as well.
Who's gone while I've been offline? Because I've been struggling to keep up with it all. Because it's been so crazy.
Obviously Potter.
Yeah.
Obviously Potter. In the Premier League, and Conte obviously. That's the most high profile. Stellini recently. I don't know if we can count that as.
Did Patrick Vieira go before or after?
Yeah, Vieira. Yeah, Vieira as well. And yeah, I think that's it.
Are you sure? I'm just gonna. Yeah, Arteta and.
Brendan Rodgers I've already mentioned.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is it. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Because there was a point where just after the World Cup there was. Oh yeah, Javi Gracia.
Yeah, bro. Why the hell did they pick Javi Gracia of all the people? Can someone explain?
Because no one would take the job. That's the thing. There was no one.
That's got to be the reason, because Javi Gracia was shit at Watford. It was awful. I mean, you would. Well, then again, they did pick Jesse Marsh beforehand, so maybe that just fits the profile of what they're looking for as a shit manager. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Like Southampton, did they? changed while I was
No,
gone again.
that was before. That was before.
I thought they sacked the one after as well.
Nathan Jones. No, Nathan Jones was before.
No, I mean, didn't they have? Oh no, is it still the caretaker? They still got the same caretaker in charge then?
No, the caretaker is permanent or at least interim or whatever.
Oh,
Ruben says.
yeah, I thought they got rid of him. That was all. I missed. Oh no, that's Wolves got rid of Sellers, didn't they? That's who I'm thinking of. That's where I'm getting mixed up. Because they had Scott Sellers in as their director of football, didn't they? And they got rid of him. That's where I'm getting mixed up with. Okay, never mind. Forget it. I've realised what I'm getting confused with now. Yeah. So anyway, where were we? Tottenham. Who will get the job?
Yeah, Tottenham. I think it's gonna be a bad shout for the fan base, but Potter would be a decent choice still. Nagelsmann is obviously gonna be the main choice for every job that becomes available, right? There's no point discussing Nagelsmann.
Yeah, he's not going to take it, is he? Potter, I don't
He
think...
shouldn't, but Ralph Rangnick did come out recently saying Tottenham is an intriguing job for someone like Nagelsmann.
Yeah,
but I got the impression that he was trying to angle into he was basically trying to replace Paratici.
Yeah, because Paratici's gone as well. That's the other thing.
And then and like I think my understanding of what his coach will is that they also need a director of football. They also need a manager. It's a brand new, like, it's basically an open canvas. You can paint whatever you want to paint.
But you can't because you've got Levy there.
And it's Spurs. That's the issue. And come on, that's Spurs.
Well, even if it wasn't, when you've got Levy there with his hand on the purse strings, it's just not an open. You're doing what he allows you to do, basically, and that's never going to be it's not a good prospect, is it? Let's be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't see you. I mean, someone like is Marco Rose in a job now? Who are you?
Yeah, Rose.
Who are your favourites?
He's at Leipzig.
Gallardo, has he got a job yet? Marcelo Gallardo, he still needs to get into Europe. Maybe him.
I don't think Premier League should be his first foray into Europe.
No, I would agree with you, and I certainly don't think Spurs is the right place. But I'm just suggesting good managers that they should be looking at. You know, the level they should be at. But I do think, I mean, to be honest, I think the first priority has to be a director of football. Get the right man in. Last time, I mean, the problem is Paratici was the one that wanted Conte, and that's why he ended up with Conte. So you want someone that's got a better idea of what suits the club.
An interesting shout that to make 0-0 to make for Chelsea was Arne Slot.
Yes,
the guy at Feyenoord. And if I'm not mistaken, he is also the guy that almost won AZ Alkmaar the league, but then COVID happened and it got cancelled.
Yeah.
He could be an interesting. But because it's Tottenham, how good is his English? Because Tottenham rejected Erik ten Hag because his English wasn't good enough. Idiots, thankfully.
I believe Arne Slot speaks good English. Most Dutch do, but hang on.
They rejected ten Hag because he doesn't speak English. It's the same club that appointed Pochettino, who needed a translator for 2 years.
I'm pretty sure he speaks good English. I'm sure he's. I'm sure I've seen an interview with him and he spoke in English, even like Tottenham I can't find.
I don't know if Marcelino speaks English. He would be fun after Conte.
Oh God, that'd just be.
It's just like 5 inches shorter, but the same guy. No, he's not same guy. Marcelino, I think, wants even more than Conte.
No, he has done interviews in English. He does do interviews in English,
Oh,
according to this. I'm not sure it's on the internet, obviously, so we know how perfect that might, how reliable it might be. But they're saying that he does do interviews in English. So for ESPN, that he did an interview in English for ESPN. It says here. So
De Zerbi. Roberto De Zerbi.
from
And,
Brighton.
you have to sort. Yeah, you have to sort him out.
Yeah, I still think it's too soon because like he's got an. It's not a. It's a. I think it'd be harder to destroy them than it would be to just to keep them going the way the team he inherited. To be honest, I
No,
inherited.
but I think now I can see like there are signs of like genuine improvement in the overall team play.
Right? I don't. Obviously, I can't tell. I've said I just want to reserve judgment until we've seen him a couple of seasons dealing with players.
No, I fully agree, but I think the early signs are very promising.
Hmm.
I think
Oh,
I think he has shown signs of improvement in the Brighton team, but it was an easy setup and a very good appointment from the Brighton team as well. We have to compliment them on that. And let's not forget, it wasn't just a manager; they had a whole like basically they had a whole team of support staff ripped out from the club.
yeah, and
Club
the
World Cup
the
director of football.
technical staff as
Yeah,
well all went. So yeah, they've had to
yeah,
rebuild. So they seem to have done a good job, but only time will tell because obviously a lot of it's recruitment based. Is how well the recruitment continues, and it shouldn't matter to be honest, because a lot of it's done by Bloom runs it in a very similar way to Brentford, where it's stats based using his stats system, similar to
I recently discovered that the Brighton and Brentford model had a lot of similarities because
mm,
sometime in the history those two guys worked together and then
yes,
they
yeah,
had a
they're both
breakup.
very. Yeah, he's because Tony Bloom's a professional gambler, and so he
Yeah,
uses a lot of stats, which is
yeah,
obviously he uses stats to base his gambles on, like, and so and obviously Matthew Benham's isn't he? Is it as a stats company? He has a stats company that he uses to base all the decisions on as well. So they're basically they're virtually the same model, which is probably explains the success they're having.
yeah. Thomas Frank is a sort
Yeah, but
of
again, at these
teacher.
the managers at clubs like that, I just think it's a bit like bringing them in from the Red Bull clubs.
Yeah, Red Bull group. You never know whether you're gonna end up with Roger Schmidt or Jesse March.
Yeah,
Another
exactly.
guy for the start, Roger Schmidt.
Yeah, now Roger Schmidt, he's shown it over a long period of time. He's been
Uh,
shouted
but
about for a
but
while.
I still have my reservations about his ceiling.
Mm.
I don't think he's dominate the Premier League, compete for the Champions League level good.
I
I think
can,
it's just one step below.
yeah,
And
sometimes
I'm a huge admirer of Robert Schmidt. I I followed him from his time at Leverkusen. I love his teams, but
yeah, I can see what
I
you're
think this
saying.
is a glass ceiling.
And in dealing with the kind of players, it is a difficult step to make as well, to step up to these kind of prima donnas you're dealing with. From like Leverkusen is one level. Okay, there you still get prima
Oh,
donnas, but they're not the kind
Xavi
of
Alonso.
Xabi
Since he
Alonso.
mentioned
Oh,
Leverkusen, he's
oh,
not gonna
please
go to
don't,
Spurs. Never gonna
please
go
don't
to
say that.
Spurs right now, but he's
Oh,
done a
please don't
brilliant
even
job.
suggest it. Just the thought of Xabi Alonso at Spurs makes me feel sick. Oh,
And he would instantly be the best dressed guy.
he'd be instantly their best player as well. And he's been
I'm not gonna
retired
say
for
best player.
years.
I'm not gonna say best player, but definitely the best midfielder.
Midfielder, sorry. I meant to say what a player he was. Yeah, no, he certainly got off to a good start, but I think it's a bit too early to judge him. See, this
I
is the
think
problem: is people who jump on one.
I think Leverkusen were just too eager to sack the previous manager because I think Gerardo Silva was doing a decent job and had a rough patch.
Mm.
Just because he had a rough patch at the beginning of the season doesn't mean it's completely shit. So sometimes we have a bad 5 games in the middle of the season. Sometimes we have it at the start of the season.
Well, yeah, I mean Pep Guardiola at the start of this season, City were nowhere, were they?
If Jurgen Klopp wasn't who he
Oh,
is,
yeah,
then he wouldn't have survived at Liverpool either.
yeah,
Let's not
exactly.
kid ourselves.
And he did the same at Dortmund after a few, in his final season there. He wouldn't have still, anybody else at Dortmund would have been sacked. So, sometimes you just have to stand by a manager and say you've earned the right. It's just a bad patch. Keep going. I'd like to see a bit more of that though. Of like Potter, I think he deserved it. But then you get some of them where you just think like Moyes, and you just think this is just what you are. You're a lower league, you're a lower tier manager. You're never going to go any further with them. You might have had a lucky one season, a good one season, like where but you're not going to take them on.
I think I've said this before on the podcast as well with Moyes. After a certain point, it doesn't matter how good the players at his disposal are. The team stays the same.
Yep, I fully agree with that. That is an apt description of the man. It won't matter what he does. It won't improve. It won't improve. It'll just stay where it is. He'll always be around the lower end of the table. No matter who you give him.
Yeah, you could give him Mbappe. You could give him De Bruyne. But he comes with a ceiling.
Do you know, I saw something earlier on. Somebody was writing their dream signings for a club. I think it was Man United, if I remember correctly. And they were picking like strikers, and they didn't pick Mbappe. And I just thought, what? When they were absolutely writing a dream one scenario of if you had X amount of, had unlimited funds type of thing. I'm sure it was Man United site, and I just thought, if you're going to have a dream scenario, you wouldn't pick, he's picked he picked reasonable signings that you'd expect them possibly to make. He wasn't picking like dream size. I thought he really not dreaming big, like, you know what I mean?
No. If you're dreaming, then your dream goalkeeper can't be David Raya. It has to be an Alisson, for example.
Yeah.
Or a Mike Maignan.
Yeah, you're going for the best, aren't you? If you're looking at forwards, you're looking at Mbappe or Osimhen, even. And that's about it, really, at the moment, isn't it? It's one of them two, or maybe Harry Kane would be like, if possibly, but I wouldn't put him in the same bracket as either of them, especially not Mbappe. I mean, he's a different level. Surely, if you're talking about dream scenarios, looking at players, your dream is Mbappe has to be the number one dream signing of any team in the world, surely.
No, if it's a dream striker, you have to be like Mbappe, you have to be Haaland, you have to be. I guess. Yeah, Osimhen, because he's super exciting right now.
Yeah, but I'd say literally Mbappe is the best player in the world right now. So if your ultimate dream signing, you'd go for. But I could have understood if he'd said that Osimhen or maybe Haaland or someone, but I can't even remember who he put. But I just remember thinking that'd be really like that's someone Jonathan David, I think it was. And don't get me wrong, I've said many times I like Jonathan David.
It was the Chelsea base, I think. I think it might be the Chelsea base.
It might have been, yeah. But like, if you're talking about a dream signing, he's not a dream signing, is he? He's a very good signing.
He's a realistic signing. He's a realistic signing.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of one you could actually see them buying rather than one that they would, rather than one that you dream of buying. Uh, maybe I dream too big and they don't. I don't know. But I just think Mbappe's the best player in the world, and if you're going to buy anyone, you go and buy Mbappe.
Oh yeah, I found the post. It's like goalkeeper Melia from Leeds.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I was just
Yeah,
thinking,
it can't be a dream. I think it's more like a realistic
but he did
situation
say
because
dream, didn't he? I'm pretty sure.
Lavia and the Jonathan David, they're, let's let's go for the decent player kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's just the most underwhelming dream signings I can think of. It's like somebody needs to actually close their eyes and go to sleep and dream properly. That's all, yeah.
Yeah, they've not watched was Inception where Tom Hardy says it's a dream big.
Yeah. Oh, bleh. Yeah, but I see Christopher Nolan was saying most people missed the point of that film at the end.
Yeah, if you're gonna dream big.
No, because most people miss the point of the film, he was saying. Because everyone looks at the thing spinning, the spinning top still being there, and
Proper.
questions, is it a dream or isn't it a dream? That's the argument, is that he's still whatever. But most people, Christopher Nolan says the point is that he walks away from it all. He gives it all up to be with his family. That's the whole point of the film, is the ending, is that he walks away from it all to be with his family, gives up all that. And like everyone seems to miss it because they're too busy discussing whether or not it's a dream at the end.
What do you think, is it a dream or reality?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on! Like, listen, people. I was not aware of this, but there's a large section on the internet that debates whether Batman is alive or dead in Dark Knight Rises.
So what?
Yeah, because for some section, because that like the scenario was described by Alfred, the Florence vacation. Don't have to pay the bills. You have a family and all those things. So it's like whether is it the butler's dream or is it real? Oh come on, it's Batman. He saved himself. Let's not talk about movies right now.
You have me so confused then. I thought you were talking about Inception at first, then I realised.
No, the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
There's a debate whether Batman is alive or dead, whether it's Alfred's imagination, his dream, or whether it's reality.
Yeah.
When the movie ended, that wasn't the question in my mind. I thought Batman is alive.
Yeah, clearly, I would have said. I thought that was the whole
No,
point.
I thought it was clear, but for a large section, it's ambiguous.
Yeah, well, people just like to. I think people just like to argue, to be honest. Put ridiculous theories, like, well, I mean, you only have to look at the
This is a
conspiracy
football
side.
podcast.
Yeah, well, yeah, so I'm sure we can come up with some ridiculous. We should come up with ridiculous theories for the podcast, really, shouldn't we, to discuss and debate, just to see if we can come up with some ridiculous conspiracy theories in football to use to talk about.
No, come up with okay. If just to end the podcast, come up with a theory that says fire Julian Nagelsmann, bring in Thomas Tuchel, lose the lead in the Bundesliga, and get fucking tonked in the Champions League. Explain this. Give me the reason. Give me the theory behind this.
Christ, I don't even think the most ludicrous conspiracy theory could explain that one, mate. I mean, we know why it happened, because he fell out with Neuer. That's what that was over. That falling out with Neuer because he sacked his goalkeeping coach and brought in his own. That's what caused it.
I think it's just too much player power.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It was Neuer who was causing all the problems behind the scenes. The moment he got rid of his goalkeeper coach, who's his mate, and brought in his own. Nagelsmann brought in his own. That was it. Neuer was against him, and that was when all the trouble was happening. And from that moment on, his career was over at Bayern. It was as simple as that, because the board didn't back him. They chose to back Neuer, and I don't know why. I don't understand why. Neuer's finished as a top-class keeper. He's been finished for years. He's got wrist problems. He's never been the greatest player anyway. I think he's massively overrated.
Come on.
Very good with his feet, but he's not the great. He's never been the greatest keeper.
I don't care what you say. For the modern football, 2014 Neuer is the greatest keeper for this modern football.
He's like Ederson. He's got too many weaknesses to his game.
No, that
very
Neuer
good.
That Neuer didn't have the same issues this Neuer has.
I think the problem was he was playing for Bayern and he got away with it.
No. The Neuer from 2013-14, like for a year, 2 years, however much that was, he was brilliant. He was just brilliant. He was almost a complete goalkeeper. He had no issues with claiming crosses, which now he does, I think. I'm not a regular Bundesliga watcher.
He's got wrist problems, so it's not.
Yeah, those injuries have hampered him.
Yeah, but he's always had a
criticism.
That's always been his issue, is that his concentration's been a problem.
No, but the Neuer under Guardiola when he first took over, he was brilliant.
He was great under Guardiola, but he was playing in a Guardiola team that dominated football and virtually had nothing to do. So,
no, but he was just.
He did.
I guess we might have found a topic where we both genuinely agree with each of our viewpoints that are completely differing. I'm very happy about it. But no, that was faultless Neuer.
I think Neuer was. I can understand what you're saying. I think he was a great keeper, but I don't think he was perfect or close to it. I think he had concentration issues, and
that's because he was too good.
I think it's more because the team was too good, and that's where the issue lies. Is you can't tell because he was playing behind such a good team. It's a bit like Ray Clemence during his Liverpool days. Nobody knew how good Ray Clemence was. Was he the greatest keeper in the world, or was he just playing behind a team that never gave up a shot? You know, that was the issue. Nobody knew until he went to Spurs. Then we found out he was actually a much better keeper than anybody else in England, but still Shilton was ahead of him for some reason. Bizarrely. You know, you can't tell. He might have been. You might be right, and I could be wrong. It's an argument we can't actually. You can't have any real conclusion over, because the team he played behind was that good. He wasn't really put under a lot of pressure. Not like Alisson, where you can see how good he is because he's having to. Ederson's the same, because this Man City team he's playing behind, he's not. He's not having. He's having a lot more work to do than Neuer had to at Bayern Munich, for instance, because Bayern just dominated the league so easily. They walked away with it they were winning it in March, weren't they, each season? And that was when they struggled in the Champions League.
February.
Sometimes.
I think they won one league in February.
Yeah, exactly. It was all over, and you will never know. You might be right. I can understand what you're saying on him. He was a great keeper. He was the best in that time. At that time, he was the best around, but I'm not sure he's the greatest ever.
No, I'm not saying greatest ever. In the modern football, I think even peak Alisson. No, I don't think even peak Alisson has surpassed Neuer. No.
Whereas I think one-on-one, he wasn't as good. He had, even at his best, he did have not the strongest wrists, which is why it affected him so early on when he did have wrist problems. And it's his concentration. It bothered me. You know what I mean? There was always a chance with him that he'd that his concentration would fail him, and he'd make a stupid error at every moment. Not like every keeper makes errors. I know that. I'm not talking about but he was doing nothing all game, but he could cost them a goal for nothing. You know, he could make a goal for the opposition because he's. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. No, when he was playing well, I don't know. His kicking just wasn't as good as well.
Who's
Alisson's more
who's?
accurate.
Oh no! Neuer.
How many
You can't.
assists? How
You
many?
can't argue about Neuer's kicking.
How many assists did he get?
I don't know.
No, exactly, because nobody mentions it because he did. I don't think he got more than like one or two in his entire career to date. Whereas that's a season for Alisson. I think it's just moved on. I think that's the problem. Is he was a level above everybody else at that time because no, nobody else. But I think it's just the levels moved up. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot more.
Oh,
I think they've
let's save
reached his
this
level
discussion for
quicker
some other time.
now.
Let's
Yes.
get back to make some sense for Thomas Tuchel coming in. Apparently, it was because Real Madrid were sniffing around him. They were
Yes, yes,
that
they were.
desperate. They were that desperate to get Tuchel in that they sacked Nagelsmann.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Hassan Salahamidzic is gonna run Bayern Munich to the ground if you let him.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's a terrible director of football. But I know Real Madrid were, but they were looking for him in the summer, so they didn't need to jump. They're looking for Real Madrid have spoken to people like Klopp and Tuchel and that to take over in the summer when Ancelotti goes.
And I say $5, it's gonna be Zidane again. It's gonna be
Do you
the
know what?
cycle come on. Ancelotti Zidane, Ancelotti Zidane, Ancelotti Zidane.
Do you know what? I actually think you might be right there. I can't see who else it can be. Because Tuchel's
And
got
I
a
can't
job.
see where else Zidane is gonna go. Now that Juventus are out of the discussion because of their issues, and France have secured Deschamps for another 4 years, I guess. Where is Gigi gonna go?
Why do they want Deschamps? I don't understand. Anyway, there's only PSG left, isn't there? And PSG don't really want him.
Campos doesn't seem to like him.
No, that's what I mean. It's
because he's a smart guy.
Yeah, his football's not suited to the way PSG want to play either, which is why they got rid of Tuchel.
Yeah, but Gaultier isn't the most expensive guy, nor is Jose Mourinho who's being linked to PSG job. I don't understand how much different Zidane's football is from those guys.
No, I don't see it either. I mean, yeah.
No, I liked what Christophe Gaultier accomplished at Lille, and I still think he's a very good manager, but expansive football isn't exactly his forte either.
Yeah, I just think.
In a way, Zidane would possibly be one of the better solutions for PSG because he has shown that he can command respect from even the biggest of egos.
Do you know what his problem is? It's because he's a lot of French see him as Algerian, and he's Marseille. What is it? What do they call them? The Marseille fans. He's Marseille fan anyway. He's from Marseille area, which is PSG's hated rivals with a passion. That's the two big issues with him. If he was seen, a lot of the French don't like it. They don't like any of these. Well, these ones that come from the former colonies. There's a massive problem in France, as in most of the world, I think, really, between former colonies and the where they've moved to, when they've moved to the colonizers' countries. I think there's major problems in all these countries because of it. culture clashing and all that. Like, so they don't. So that stands against him because he's seen as Algerian or Moroccan or whatever. I forget where he's Algeria he's from.
Algerian.
His
It's
family's
Algerian.
from. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of them see him as Algerian. So they really want someone who's seen as French rather than seen as they're really desperate. They really want to try and be the French side. So that's why they try and sign big French names. Like that's why they tried to sign Pogba and people like that. It's not because it's particularly
Yeah, but
Pogba's ability.
come
It's
on.
more because they want to try and make their team seen as French. And I'm not saying it's right because I think he played for France. What more do you need to be French? To me, I don't
And also,
understand.
like most of the French national squad,
Yeah.
if you're gonna dig up their heritage and all that, they, most of them have
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
t-shirts.
I don't think it's. I just don't think it's relevant. I mean, you identify. If you move to France and you feel French, I don't see that there's an issue. I don't understand why people argue about. I really don't care what country you want to say you're from. It should be. The national thing should. Nationalism's a problem for me. It's just an issue rather than it shouldn't be. It should just be something you feel like you're French. Be French. Who cares? What's the issue? But anyway, yeah. But the other thing is, with him being, I'm sure he's from Marseille, which I'm sure if you're sure of it, that he's from Marseille, and that I'm gonna have to check. I'm sorry, I'm having to look it up here. Yeah, Marseille, born Marseille. I thought he was. Just had to check that because I suddenly thought maybe I'm getting him mixed up with something. Yeah, he's from Marseille, and they detest Marseille with a passion. So that
Oh, Pogba also didn't move. Like one of the reasons for Pogba not moving to PSG is because he's a Marseille supporter.
did he? Did Pogba say that?
Something along the lines of being a Marseille supporter or supporting Marseille as a side or something similar.
You see, Mars, it's a big thing. It's not like,
It's like Barcelona or Athletic and Spain thing. Like
yeah, it's a definite. I mean,
Catalonia,
it's a
what's Basque country and all.
it's a real needle, but it's not like. Yeah, it's more than like Liverpool, Man United, or Liverpool, Everton, or Man United, Man City. It's more than that. It's a real. They detest each other with a. I mean, the fans literally have running battles when they meet up and stuff. Yeah.
It's
So
a rich from Paris and the poor from
yeah, well, it's a
Marseille.
bit like in England where London gets all used to anyway. Not so much now, but still to a large degree. London gets all the investment, and the rest of the country kind of gets neglected. In France, it's even worse. Than it's. I read somewhere once it's the most heavily invested in capital compared to the rest of the country anywhere in the world. More everything goes to Paris. Basically, the government gives all the funding, any grants, everything goes to Paris over anybody. There's like something like 85% investment goes to Paris or something ridiculous like that. I was reading about it not so long ago when I was doing an article about rivalries. It's like, basically it's in the world, literally in the world, it said that the most heavily invested compared to the rest of the country. So it tends to set people against each other, obviously. When one group seen as getting favouritism. So yeah, so I can't see Zidane ever ending up at PSG anyway. It'd be a real surprise. Probably more chance of you getting the job.
Well, I'm up for it. I'm up for it.
Are you in for it? Are you? Yeah, I don't know if they pay enough. I don't know if they pay enough for you to take it.
I'm
You'd
ready
have
to
to.
sell myself out. I'm ready to sell myself out.
I'm not sure. Would
No
you be able
problem.
to take? Because you'd have to move to a smaller house and that, wouldn't you?
No problem. No problem. I
I
can
mean,
manage.
could you slum
I
it in
manage living
Paris?
in a I manage living in a dormitory. An
Yeah.
apartment is gonna be more than enough.
Apartment in Paris, Jesus Christ, I bet that'd set you back a few quid. You probably have to
Oh,
sell
come
your
on.
soul to
No,
afford it, mate.
no, that's gonna be the part of the contract. I'm not gonna pay for the apartment. The club has to
Yeah,
pay for it.
I'm sure they can manage it, I know. So,
No, but if no, but then there's gonna be security concerns. If the club start to dislike me, which will gonna happen
which,
from day one,
oh yeah,
they
I'm
might
sure they
leak my
will.
address to the PSC Ultras, and I don't want to face them.
Well, was it who set of fans was it that set fire to outside the training ground and that when their team wasn't having a good
Marseille,
run? Is it Marseille?
Marseille,
Yeah, I thought it was.
yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, you really don't want to fall out with French fans. They do like to set fire to things. It must be said. They tend to set fire to British lorries a lot. It seems to be a regular thing when they protest. They like if they don't like the imports coming from another country, they just set fire to them. That's how they deal with it. It just seems to be. I don't know why. Very French thing to do. Blockade the ports and then set fire to anything. That's the way they deal with it. Weird. But yeah, I can't see you lasting long there, to be honest. Like, if you got the job, or anywhere else for that
Uh,
matter, to be honest, it'd be far too much like effort for you to work, wouldn't it? I mean, why would you give up the life you've got now?
for 1 month salary, I'd probably
Yeah.
say it for 5, 10, 20, 30. I don't know how many years. So, I'm up for it.
Especially if they
Look,
sack.
Mr. Campos, if you're listening, you know how to find me.
I think you get 1 year, 1 year contract even, because they'd have to pay up the contract. So you wouldn't be a month's salary you'd be getting. You'd be getting at least a year, however long your contract's for.
Oh, yes.
So you'd be set for life, mate.
Huh.
You could
That's
retire
gonna be
properly.
swell.
If
That's gonna be swell.
so, can it be classed as retirement when you've never actually started work in the first place?
Hang on a minute. What you're telling me is Frank Rabot got sacked after 5 games, but possibly got the remuneration for his whole duration.
Could have done, yeah. It depends on the. They might have discussed it with him, but the chances are if he's got sacked, he'll have got his contract paid up. That's the usual.
Oh,
That's nice, isn't it? I mean, it
that
makes
is
you so you don't care whether you get to keep the job or not, doesn't it?
that is why Mourinho gets extra grumpy when he wants to get sacked.
Exactly. He's just thinking of the money. He's thinking, Christ, I need to get out of here. I need a new car or a new house. Well, maybe not a new house because he stays in the same one in London, doesn't he? He just rents a hotel room when he doesn't want to live somewhere. Depends on what his wife and kids want to do, doesn't it? Where they want to live.
Yeah, but he's earned it, man.
He's certainly earned enough money in his career. Wow. He must be worth a few bob, I tell ya.
Yeah, but I think managers compared to players are underpaid.
I tell you who is underpaid in football: scouts. Massively underpaid. A good scout is. We only have to look at teams like Man United, their struggles, Chelsea. Good scouting setup, good scouts could have saved them 600. The 600 million Chelsea spent. They could have spent so much wiser if they'd had a good scouting setup to find them the right players for cheaper.
Yeah, you've got a point. Got a point.
They're keys, but they're not
No,
paid well at all.
even on the even if we're looking at the middle middle section of the table, yeah, some teams continuously succeed, some teams continuously fail.
Well, you look at Brentford. They used to.
Yeah, that is what I'm
Oh,
gonna say. Like
well,
Brentford,
yeah,
Brighton,
yeah,
most of their transfers are a success.
yeah. The reason why Brentford's are now so successful, though, they were stuck. They couldn't get promoted to the Premier League. Couldn't get into that. The running for the promotion to get into the Premier League in the first place, because they didn't have scouts. They were just initially they were just purely using stats based to find the players and recruit them. And they were just going purely on stats. What made the difference? What's put them back into the sorry, not back. I didn't mean that. Into the Premier League and in the first place, put them up to the top tier, was they went and hired the best scouts they could find to go and look at these players that the stats identified, and they just use the stats now to identify the players to look at, and then they go and scout them. So they've got to have good stats in the first place to get looked at, but rather than just going and signing the best players statistically, they go and have a look at them and give them the eye test as well, and then they choose the ones that work on the eye test that match up on the stats.
Yeah,
And that's
that's also a little bit, but that's going too deep into the football pyramid. No, my point is, a team has a run of 5 bad games. The manager gets to sack, the players continue with it.
Exactly, yeah. So they're going to be with you. They're there for years. They're always there for years. Rarely you get, the only ones you get rid of quickly are the ones that fail you miserably, and you can get offload them quick, or ones that are really successful. You can sell them for a big profit. But and again, good scouting stops the former and helps the latter. So. Okay, anyway, I think we've pretty much finished, haven't we?
I
First
guess
one back. So,
see you next Thursday.
Yep, see you next Thursday, mate. And thank you for that, and thank you for listening. Anyone that's listened, take care all, and we'll see you on Thursday, hopefully.
And also, get a life. If you've listened, if you've listened to us this far down, get a life, man.
It's only 3.5 hours. It's just a warm up. Take care all, and nice to be back. Bye bye.
Yeah, see you. Bye bye.